A very good evening to all the students. Welcome to this session of live virtual class for Paper-3B, Goods and Services Tax. I'm CA Shefali Jain and I'm a faculty for Indirect Tax Laws. Today's topic is place of supply, and this is the fourth chapter in your study material. So we'll be studying this topic today. This topic will be taken by CA Vishal Podar, and he will be joining us in some time. But before that, I will be giving you an introduction of the topic, and we'll take an illustration to explain, to understand, because GST is the destination based consumption tax, and that is why this concept of place of supply has come. So I will be explaining you an illustration to show you that how it is a destination based consumption tax and how the flow of credit actually works. And if time permits, we'll try to have a small short quiz of the topics which we have discussed till now, or which we have apprised you till now. So I request, before we start the session, I request all of you to put all your messages in everyone by selecting everyone so that everyone can see others' messages. Okay, good evening, Anubhav, Geeta, Mustafa, then Riddhiben, Meenu, and Satish, Abhinav, Shamli, Shraddha, Deepika, Gopal. A very good evening to all of you. And Medha, good evening. Gopal, Shashi, Amar, Deepika, Shraddha. So, lot many students have already joined. Adil, Shri Kumar. So, before I start the session, let me first show you the link for the. Sorry, this is not the link. Okay. Let me show you the link for the quiz, so that in case the time permits, you all are there with me in the quiz and we can do the quiz. This is the QR code for the quiz. So just I will be sharing this screen and we'll have just an overview of place of supply. Then we'll go to illustration. If time permits, at least 4 or 5 questions, say 7 to 8 questions, whatever we can take for the quiz. We'll try to have the quiz before Sir joins us for the place of supply concept. So place of supply is actually very important in GST because GST is a destination based consumption tax. That means the tax is actually levied at a point of time where the service or goods are actually consumed. That is why it is a destination based consumption tax. Now we have to, for this, to know that where the service or good has actually been consumed, we should know the place of supply, where that supply has actually been placed. And that we can know from the place of supply provisions. Another important reason is that in order to understand the nature of supply, whether it is an interstate supply or it is an intrastate supply, we should know the whether it is interstate supply or an intrastate supply. For that purpose also, we had discussed it in the basic introduction class that you should know two things: location of supplier and place of supply. So then also place of supply is important to determine whether it is an interstate supply or intrastate supply. Again, it becomes very important. So without place of supply, you cannot move ahead in GST. In fact, GST cycle जो हमने supply under GST में की थी, उसमें place of supply plays a very important role, because after that you move to exemptions chapter. वहां पे आपको एक बार nature of supply पता चल जाता है, then you move to the next step, and that is that you have to see whether it is an interstate supply. Then you have to go to exemption list for interstate or otherwise intrastate. At intermediate level, only the domestic transactions are applicable, or they are in your syllabus. Cross border transactions यानी कि import export के जो provisions हैं, या जहां पर आपके supplier या recipient कोई भी बाहर है services के case में, those provisions are not applicable. So this is the link, and in fact otherwise you can join. This is the code is 946421. 946421 is the code for joining the quiz. This is the link, joinmyquiz.com. At this, you should join 946421. Okay, I will write it in the message also. The code is 946421. Now let us quickly start with that illustration. Oh. Actually, a problem has occurred. I have switched off the, I actually have closed the link. Now, whosoever has joined in the quiz, they again have to join. So please bear with me for this technical error which has been there. So all of you have to again join the quiz because that code will change now. So just bear with me. We'll start the illustration, or should I go for that quiz? Again, I have to log in. So you have to give me 10 to 15 minutes. I will share the code also. This code is not applicable, which we had just shared. All of you who had joined the quiz also, they will again have to join. So that is there. Good evening, Adil, Shri, Lingaraju, and Abhinav. Abhinav, my screen is blur. Okay, I don't know how this occurs, but many a time students feel that my screen is blurred when we do it in a certain mode. So Nitin, Golti, Sahil, good evening. Let my technical person come and we'll try to change it. Now, before I go to quizzes portal, let me first start with that illustration which I wanted to do with all of you, because this is very important, and I don't want to leave anything of the topics which I have discussed. So any query you have regarding this, you can put it in the everyone's chat box. Now, if you remember, in Chapter 1, Introduction of GST, we had discussed that the GST is a destination-based tax and there is a continuous supply of credit or continuous chain of credits in GST. Now, in the continuous chain of credits, who is the state or which state will get the ultimate revenue, and how the revenue will be accrued or will be attributed to a particular state or center? For that, we have two illustrations, because this is what you all should know before proceeding to place of supply chapter. This is a prerequisite. That is why we had kept some time for these two illustrations. First illustration is an intrastate supply, which is a simple illustration. You all will understand it quickly. Let me go through it. In this transaction, in this example or illustration, let me show you the pictorial representation. A has sold goods to B and B has sold goods to C, and this is within same state. Only one state is involved here. So if only one state transaction is taking place within a state, then all of you know that it is an intrastate transaction. Okay, now this is a case where both the transactions which are taking place are intrastate. Then how the revenue flow will be there or how the credit flow will be there, both these things we'll be discussing. So Mr. A has sold goods to Mr. B. Value of goods was 10,000, and this is an intrastate supply. So CGST rate of tax is 9% CGST and SGST. This is the rate of tax. IGST we do not require because it is not an interstate supply. तो इसलिए हमने सिर्फ CGST SGST का रेट लिया. 900 rupees का टैक्स उसने CGST और SGST दोनों में पे किया होगा, and then he would have sold goods to B. बहुत सिंपल ट्रांजेक्शन है, इसमें किसी को कोई डाउट आई होप होना नहीं चाहिए, बट आपको कोई भी डाउट है आप उसको इमीडिएटली चैट बॉक्स में लिखिएगा. डोंट, बिकॉज आई विल मूव अहेड ओनली व्हेन दिस इज क्लियर टू यू. देन B has sold these goods to C. Now B के लिए वैल्यू 12,000 है because there is a value addition of 2,000 rupees by B. B ने वो गुड्स 10,000 में खरीदे, 900 का CGST उसके ऊपर पे किया और उसने उसके बाद वो गुड्स C को बेचे. But the value at that time, he charged a value of 12,000 rupees. So 2,000 का उसने उस goods पे value addition किया and the value became 12,000 rupees. Now applying the same rate of 9% here, CGST will become 1,080 rupees and SGST will also become 1,080 rupees. Now how the credit will be available to Mr. C? Oh, yes, sorry, Mr. B. How Mr. B will be using credit to pay GST on this particular transaction. This is the second transaction and this is the first transaction. So in the second transaction, B has to pay a CGST liability of 1,080 rupees and SGST liability of 1,080 rupees. 9% Medha, we have taken a fictitious rate, or we have assumed, for simplicity, we have taken 9% rate. Whatever goods and services, whatever they have supplied, the rate is 9%. So now this 1,080 rupees is CGST, and B would be having a credit of tax paid on purchases. जो भी tax उसने purchase पे pay किया है, हमने बहुत एक simple example से chapter 1 में समझा था कि जब हम output पे जो tax pay करना होता है उसके लिए हम input पे pay किया हुआ tax credit की तरह use कर सकते हैं. CGST का क्रेडिट CGST के लिए बिना किसी बार के, बिना किसी रिस्ट्रिक्शन के यूज हो सकता है. SGST का क्रेडिट SGST के पेमेंट के लिए यूज हो सकता है. क्रॉस यूटिलाइजेशन पॉसिबल नहीं है. ये सब आप बहुत डिटेल में ITC के चैप्टर में करोगे. अभी सिंप्लिसिटी के लिए आप ये समझो कि CGST का 900 रुपीज हम यहाँ से यूज कर लेंगे. दैट विल मेक ओनली 180 टू बी पेड इन कैश. एंड सिमिलरली यहाँ पर हम 900 रुपीज का SGST का क्रेडिट यूज कर लेंगे. दैट विल मेक 180 to be paid in cash. Okay. So this is the flow of credit which is there in illustration 1. दैट इज अगर हम कैश क्रेडिट की बात करें कि हम टोटल जीएसटी पेबल इन कैश, देन यहाँ सीजीएसटी 900 शुरू में कैश में पे होगा क्योंकि यहाँ हमने माना दिस इज द फर्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन और अभी हमने ये एज्यूम किया कि ए के पास कुछ भी आईटीसी अवेलेबल नहीं है टू कीप द ट्रांजेक्शन सिंपल, बट बी के पास ये 900 का क्रेडिट था, इसलिए बी ने अल्टीमेटली कैश में सिर्फ 180 रुपीज पे किए हैं। तो अल्टीमेटली अगर आप देखो तो सेंटर के पास कितने रुपीज गए, 1080 रुपीज, और स्टेट के पास गए 1080 रुपीज। जो रेवेन्यू है, क्रेडिट का फ्लो हमने देख लिया। रेवेन्यू का फ्लो कैसे हो रहा है कि सेंटर के पास फाइनली 1080 रुपीज ही जाने चाहिए थे, यस मुस्तफा यू आर राइट, और स्टेट के पास भी 1080 रुपीज जाने चाहिए थे। आप अपने सारे मैसेजेस मेन चैट में लिखो, कोई भी डाउट है डोंट फील शाय, आपको जो भी डाउट है आप पूछिए, क्योंकि अगर आप डाउट पूछ रहे हो इट मीन्स आप क्लास अच्छे से अटेंड कर रहे हो। तो इसलिए जो डाउट पूछता है उसका मतलब ये नहीं होता कि उसको वो समझ नहीं आया, उसका मतलब होता है ही इज मोर अटेंटिव इन द क्लास एंड ही इज मोर पार्टिसिपेटिव। सो आस्किंग डाउट इज एक्चुअली अ गुड सिग्नल दैट यू आर एक्चुअली अंडरस्टैंडिंग द टॉपिक। सो लेट अस गो टू द इलस्ट्रेशन। यही इलस्ट्रेशन भी बताता है वैल्यू चार्ज 1000 रुपीज थी। ओ माय पेन इज नॉट वर्किंग हियर। ओके, वैल्यू चार्ज इज 10,000 रुपीज, उस पर 9% का सीजीएसटी चार्ज हुआ, 9% का एसजीएसटी। टोटल प्राइस हमारा 11,800 है, बट हमें उससे कोई मतलब नहीं है, हमें तो सिर्फ सीजीएसटी एसजीएसटी का अमाउंट देखना है और वैल्यू कितनी चार्ज हुई थी। जब बी से सी में ट्रांजेक्शन, बी ने सी को सेल करे, वो गुड्स या सर्विसेज जो भी थे वो सप्लाई किए, तो वैल्यू 12,000 हो गई बिकॉज देयर वॉज अ वैल्यू एडिशन ऑफ 20%। सो 10,000 बिकेम 12,000। बी टू सी के केस में वैल्यू कितनी हो गई, 12,000 हो गई इंस्टेड ऑफ 10,000। अब उस पर सीजीएसटी और एसजीएसटी का अमाउंट भी बढ़ गया, इट बिकेम 1,080 रुपीज, 1,080 रुपीज ईच, एंड देयरफॉर नाउ हाउ दैट इज बीइंग पेड। 1,080 रुपीज का जो सीजीएसटी था उसके लिए हमने 900 रुपीज का क्रेडिट यूज कर लिया। सेम वे तो सीजीएसटी जो गवर्नमेंट को कैश में देना है वो 180 हो जाता है, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट के पास टोटल रेवेन्यू पूरा आएगा, दैट वी विल सी इन द नेक्स्ट टेबल, दैट इज व्हाट यू शुड नो। एंड एसजीएसटी के केस में 1,080 रुपीज जो पेएबल थे उसमें से 900 हमने अपना क्रेडिट से पे कर दिया, 180 रुपीज कैश में पे किया। So in that case, here you can see rate of CGST and SGST have been assumed to be 9% each for the sake of simplicity. So Medha, your question is answered कि हमने simplicity के लिए लिया है ये. Okay. Sakti, don't worry. I will explain English in English also. We have taken a credit of 900 rupees CGST as well as SGST payable at the time of purchase. We have paid an input tax of 900 rupees each, CGST and SGST. Now, when B is making a supply transaction to C, since this transaction is also an intrastate transaction, so CGST and SGST of incremental amount will be, an increased amount will be paid because value has increased. Now your value has become 12,000 rupees. Earlier your value was 10,000 rupees when supply was being made to from A to B. Then value was 10,000. Now value is 12,000. So now the CGST, SGST amount is 1,080 rupees. And while paying this, you will use the credit of 900 rupees each CGST and SGST, which is available as credit. So finally, only 180 rupees CGST and 180 rupees SGST has to be paid in cash. Now let us see whether government is getting full amount or not. Okay. So see, revenue, statement of revenue earned by the central government. So in case of transaction from A to B, supply, when A is making supply to B, 900 rupees cash was paid to the central government and 900 rupees must have gone to the state government because वो SGST का amount है, it would have gone to state government. Similarly, in second transaction, that is B to C transaction, here also the credit of the amount of 180 rupees, at least credit of 900 has been used. So cash payment of 180 would also have gone to center and state respectively. That is what is being shown here. In case of supply by B to C, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास अगेन 180 रुपीज का रेवेन्यू और आ गया होगा और 180 रुपीज का रेवेन्यू स्टेट के पास आ गया होगा। 900 तो क्रेडिट से यूज हो गया था, तो वो तो ऑलरेडी उनकी किटी में था, उनके अकाउंट में था और वो वहीं पे रहेगा। बस ये है कि हमने एक एंट्री पास कर दी कि हमने क्रेडिट यूज करके ये पे किया है, कैश में नहीं पे किया। सो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट विल गेट इंक्रीमेंटल और एडिशनल 180 रुपीज, state will also get additional 180 rupees. So overall, center is getting 1,080 rupees, state is getting 1,080 rupees. So I hope this makes it clear that in ultimately or in totality, central government is getting 1,080 rupees, state is getting 1,080 rupees. That should have happened in a in a value-added tax, this should have been there. Yes, Riddhiben, this illustration is there in study material in chapter 1, GST in India and introduction. There are 2 illustrations there. Page number I will let you know. Otherwise, Rahul, this is a regular session. Yes, this is a regular session, Rahul. We'll be starting with place of supply concept soon. But right now we are discussing 2 illustrations explaining the continuous flow of credit in GST, which is given in chapter 1. Nausheen has given the page number also 1.18. So thank you, Nausheen, for telling this. I hope, Riddhiben, now you know the page number. Okay, let us go. Anybody has any doubt in this illustration? Into intrastate transaction, simple use of credit is there. Government is getting finally the total amount of GST which it should have got, 1080 rupees, 1080 rupees. If it is clear to everyone, please let me know in the chat box, because we are moving to illustration 2, which requires more concentration. Okay. So I hope it is clear now. I'm getting replies from all of you. Let us move to illustration 2. So we'll see first of all the pictorial representation or diagrammatic representation of illustration 2. In illustration 2, we have involved different states. 2 states have been involved. First transaction is an intrastate transaction. Second transaction is an interstate transaction. And third transaction is again an intrastate transaction. You have to be very clear. Intrastate transaction, then CGST, SGST. It is a state transaction, so SGST will be there. Interstate transaction means IGST, and intrastate again will be CGST and SGST will be levied. Now, let us see what tax will be levied at each state. In first case, first transaction between X to A. यहाँ पर X से transaction A के बीच में हो रही है. X is supplying some goods to A. Ulti saying ITC will be released after, yes, ITC will be the set off of ITC clearance. It takes place every month, Gulti. But final ITC will be after sale. This ITC will be or at the time of sale itself, this ITC will go to the will be used at that for making the payment. WhatsApp link, technical person, if you can share. Sanket, if you can share the WhatsApp link with the students. व्हाट्सएप का लिंक शेयर कर दोगे आप? अच्छा ठीक है, कोई नहीं, हम अभी शेयर कर देते हैं. Somebody has asked me, Mansi, you have asked, we'll share the WhatsApp link. Don't worry. Somebody is saying कि नोट से अच्छा समझ में आता है. I don't remember अभी किसने बोली थी ये बात. Yeah, Mustafa is saying you are teaching with your notes. There is no chance anybody cannot understand. Thank you so much, Mustafa. अच्छा आज ज्यादा लोग आए इसीलिए. चलो good to know that. So I really wish कि आपको ये समझ में आ जाए. मुझे वैसे आज क्विज करने का बहुत मन है, बट अगर मेरा मेन फोकस इस कॉन्सेप्ट पे रहेगा क्योंकि ये ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्विज तो वी कैन हैव इन नेक्स्ट क्लास ऑल्सो, डोंट वरी. क्विज हम हर क्लास के बाद ट्राई करेंगे, क्विज रखें. तो अभी एक्स ने जो है ए को सेल किए, सप्लाई किया. अभी सप्लाई हमें गुड सर्विसेज से कोई मतलब नहीं है, अभी उसमें है ही नहीं. वी ओनली नो एक्स हैज सप्लाइड समथिंग टू ए. बोथ ऑफ देम बिलोंग टू सेम स्टेट, दैट इज स्टेट 1. ओके. GST payable is, now since it is an intra-state transaction, state 1 है दोनों का, तो इसीलिए CGST of 900, SGST of 900 will be paid. Now, A has sold they supplied this whatever goods or services. A has supplied to B. Now B is in another state, state 2. So this becomes an interstate transaction because 2 states are involved. So therefore, this is an interstate transaction. In fact, you do not have to determine also whether it is an interstate or intrastate transaction. We have given it in the illustration itself. Because अभी वो interstate है कि intrastate है, उसके लिए तो हम place of supply का चैप्टर पढ़ेंगे. तो वो place of supply के चैप्टर से हमें समझ में आएगा कि place of supply क्या है. अगर वो डिफरेंट स्टेट में फॉल कर रहा है तब वो इंटरस्टेट होगा. तो अभी तो हमें सिंपल समझना है, क्वेश्चन में दिया हुआ है, इलस्ट्रेशन में दिया हुआ है. फर्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन इज एन इंट्रास्टेट ट्रांजेक्शन, 900 का CGST SGST पे हो रहा है. Second transaction by A to B. Here it is an interstate transaction. Now since it is an interstate transaction and value is 12,000 rupees, so on 12,000 we will apply 18% rate, which is the rate for IGST, and you will have to, that means A has to deposit an IGST of 2,160 rupees. Okay. Okay. Somebody has shared this group link. Mustafa has shared it. Let me see if Mustafa, if you can share this WhatsApp group link in everyone in the main chat box so that everybody can get benefited. Please share it. Thank you, Meda. Thank you so much. Actually, this gives me a lot of energy when I see such positive comments from all of you. And that is why I spend so much time in this. Just a minute, students. Give me a minute. Just a minute. Yes. So this is the second transaction. Now, in second transaction, I hope everybody will agree that since it is an interstate transaction, so here you have to pay the IGST, and that IGST has to be on value of 12,000 at the rate of 18%. Okay. No, Golti, I'm not there in that group. But you can write at IDT-inter for anything you want to write to us, IDT-inter at ICAI.in. Inter-IDT. Okay. Now, so this is the second transaction. Now this is also there. Now there is third transaction. Third transaction is from B to C. In B2C transaction, again it is an intrastate transaction and value now has become 14,400 rupees because at each stage some value addition will be there. So value has now increased to 14,400. We have applied 20% value addition in each of these stages. Now, since value is 14,400, here we'll apply 9% rate. It is an intrastate transaction. Intrastate transaction है तो उस पे आपको CGST और SGST ही लगाना है. तो आपका CGST का amount क्या बनेगा 1296 और SGST का amount will be 1296. So let me explain if I have been using Hindi or let me explain it again in English. There are three transactions. First transaction is an intrastate transaction from X to A. Second is A to B transaction, which is an interstate transaction, and B to C is an intrastate transaction. Intra, inter, intra. This is the flow. First transaction, value 10,000 rupees, applying 9% rate because it's an intrastate transaction. CGST and SGST has been payable of 900 each. In second transaction, value became 12,000. Since it is an interstate transaction, IGST of 2160 is payable. In third transaction, again it is an intrastate transaction. Value has become 14,400. We had applied a rate of 9% and we got CGST and SGST of 1,296 rupees. This is the simple transaction, simple transaction of or simple amount of tax payable in each of the three transactions. Okay. Okay. Now let me come to the next slide. Don't see this table. Don't see this table. Please don't see this table. What I should have done is I should not have given this table on the slide, but by mistake I have given it here. Just see the information which is given up above. Now here you can see that, or let's go to the previous slide. Otherwise this will again confuse you. Now when we are having CGST and SGST of 900, now at this stage, here there is no ITC, because we have assumed for simplicity that there is no input tax credit available in first transaction. Hope it is clear. In second transaction, Mitesh, I will answer your query in just few minutes. Just please bear with me. Yes, Mustafa, absolutely right. Yes. 14,000 into 9%. So 14,000, Shashi, it is 14,400. The value is 14,400 here. So here, when we are paying the IGST of 2160, at that time, this has actually distorted my amount. When we have to pay IGST of 2160, then we can use the credit of CGST as well as we can use the credit of IGST, and therefore only 360 has to be paid in cash. इतना ये भी समझ आता है? ठीक है, IGST पेएबल था, ये सबने माना. यहाँ पे CGST SGST पेएबल होगा, ये भी आप सब मान रहे हो. अब हम आ रहे हैं ITC सेट ऑफ के ऊपर. तो यहाँ पर हमने, this is very simple. We have to pay an IGST of 2160. We have a credit of 900 CGST and SGST. We'll simply reduce it from our output tax liability and we'll get the amount to be paid in cash, that is 360 rupees cash. Now this entire amount will become IGST now. So A has paid IGST of 2160 utilizing ITC as well as paying tax in cash. But now IGST of 2160, this credit will be available to B. Because now B is the buyer. B ने कितना IGST का amount pay किया होगा? 2160. This would have become ITC for B. This was the output tax liability of, in case of A, this transaction, this was the output tax liability. This is the amount of credit which would have been available in this particular transaction. So here 1296 CGST and 1296 SGST has to be paid. For this, we have to utilize the ITC of IGST 2160. How will we use it? Now, as per the ITC provisions, I will not go into detail of ITC provisions क्योंकि फिर आप उसमें बहुत कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे और कोई जरूरत भी नहीं है अभी आपको उसको समझने की. ITC में बहुत अच्छे से समझोगे आप ITC के प्रोविजंस कैसे सेट ऑफ होता है. सिंपल एक प्रोविजन और समझ लेते हैं कि IGST क्रेडिट कैन बी यूज टू पे CGST एंड SGST. किसी भी तरह से आप यूज कर सकते हो. आप उसको इक्वल भी डिवाइड कर सकते हो. जैसे 2160 है, इसको आपने हाफ कर लिया, ठीक है, तो ये हो जाएगा 1080, ठीक है. इतना इतना आपने पे कर दिया, मतलब इतना इतना आपने इसमें से रिड्यूस कर दिया. दिस इज वन ऑफ द वेज. और यू कैन, व्हाट यू कैन डू इज लाइक व्हाट वी हैव डन. We have first of all paid the entire CGST liability. 1296 हमने पूरा IGST we have used for paying first of all CGST liability. Then only 864 or 34. Let me see. Let me check because I just have to see that amount which is there. Okay, it is 864. Okay, 864 will be left. The ITC of 864 will be left. That also will use from ITC. So out of 1296, now this SGST amount. 432 has to be paid in cash. Let me tell, please let me know if you have understood this or not. ITC Meda is input tax credit, that is tax paid on inputs is available as credit when you are paying the output tax liability. This is the base of GST. This is the core concept of or foundation of GST. GST को हम वैल्यू एडेड टैक्स कहते ही इसीलिए है कि आपको जो इनपुट्स पे टैक्स आप पे करते हो वो आपको आउटपुट पे एज ITC एज क्रेडिट अवेलेबल होता है. ओके Shamli, it is clear to you? Very good. Yes, Krishna, GS, very good, Krishna. You have understood that point. Prajapati, you are clear with that? Yes. Arun Sagar has a doubt. I have a doubt. Can we pay liabilities via cash to the government? Yes, you can pay liability via cash. But if you have ITC with you, as a prudent businessman, you will first of all use your ITC and then you will pay cash. ओके सो इस ट्रांजेक्शन में भी कोई डाउट नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपने पहले 2160 में से CGST का पूरा पे कर दिया और SGST में बचा हुआ अमाउंट से SGST पे कर दिया. सो दिस टुगेदर मेक्स 2160 और यहाँ पे आपका 2160 एग्जॉस्ट हो गया. लेकिन अभी भी लाइबिलिटी वाज लेफ्ट सम SGST लाइबिलिटी दैट इज 432. SGST लाइबिलिटी ऑफ 432 इज लेफ्ट. Somebody is not yet clear. Let me see. Shraddha is saying not clear, 864. Okay. See, Shraddha, you have a total credit of 2160 IGST, which is here, which is available here. I hope this is clear to you that when A sold goods to B and he charged an IGST of 2160, so this is a credit for this particular transaction. This credit of 2160 can be used by B while paying the tax on this particular transaction. Now, out of this 2160, 1296 has been used for CGST payment. Okay, only 864 will be left now when we have to pay SGST liability. So that 864 will use for SGST payment also. Now SGST payment liability has not been fully discharged. 432 is also still left. That we will pay in cash. Shraddha, if I can explain you in Hindi, okay, you got that point. Good, good. Otherwise, if anybody wants to get it explained in Hindi, then I will explain it. अब सिर्फ एक last leg रह गई है इसकी. Okay, Medha, you also are clear. Then Kaira, could you please re-explain the change from A to B? Okay, A to B में क्या change था? Okay, let me explain you again. Okay, so everybody is clear. Let me explain it again. Some student has a doubt in that. Let me erase whatever has been written here. Otherwise, बहुत mess हो गया है यहाँ पे. Actually, I required a pen for explaining this particular transaction, and that is why I had used today's day for this. I have pen available with me today. Okay. X to A, who had asked me for this particular doubt? I think Kyra has asked me. Yes. See, Kyra. This is the when A to B, X to A was an intrastate transaction, A to B was an interstate transaction, and B to C was an intrastate transaction. So this is clear to you that CGST of 900 was there. IGST was 2160 was charged in the second transaction, and third transaction was CGST and SGST of 1290. Now, in this transaction, we had used the credit which was available when we were paying 2160 IGST. We utilized the credit which was available from this transaction. Now, this 900 and 900 has been used, and only 360 rupees had to be paid in cash. Okay, this credit has been there from the purchase. Now, when B has supplied something to C, B would be having a credit of this IGST, that is 2160. This credit would be available with B for making payment of CGST 1296, SGST 1296. Now, in order to pay CG, so how IGST can be used for payment of CGST and SGST in any way. You have to use your own permutation combinations. No restriction is there. What combination we have used is, we have used 1296 entirely. From this, 1296 has been used for paying CGST. Now, if from 2160 I reduce 1296, it gives me 864 rupees. अब मैंने CGST के लिए 1296 यूज कर लिया क्रेडिट पर जो मेरे पास था. अब मेरे पास सिर्फ 864 रुपीज का क्रेडिट बचा हुआ है, तो मैं बचा हुआ क्रेडिट SGST में से यूज कर लूंगी, SGST के लिए यूज कर दूंगी, है ना. अब मेरा क्रेडिट पूरा खत्म हो गया, क्रेडिट इज एग्जॉस्टेड नाउ. लेकिन अभी SGST लाइबिलिटी तो अभी भी बची हुई है, 1296 पे करना था, 864 अभी क्रेडिट यूज किया, तो जो 432 रुपीज का जो बैलेंस है, दैट आई हैव टू पे इन कैश. I hope that makes it clear to all of you. Let me once again see. Okay, Karvi, you have understood this. Can you please repeat the input tax liability and output? Okay, Medha, I understood that you were hospitalized at this point of time. Let me complete this whole example. I will explain. So, input tax credit का concept बहुत simple है. Whatever tax you pay on purchase of inputs or availing the input services, that is available as credit. That you can set off, that you can set off while paying the output tax liability. जैसे हमने इस ट्रांजेक्शन में किया, या इससे पहले वाला ट्रांजेक्शन देखो, इलस्ट्रेशन 1 इज मोर इजी. आपको 900 का, आपने 1080 का टैक्स पे करना था, 900 आपने इनपुट्स पे किया था, तो दिस यू कैन यूज, यू कैन सेट इट ऑफ. ये आप सेट ऑफ कर सकते हो while paying the output tax liability. This set off is actually input tax credit mechanism which forms the basis of the GST law. Okay. Now let me just quickly see if we divide it equally. आप साहिल equally भी कर सकते थे, तब आप CGST, SGST दोनों 216 पे करते. Very right. You're absolutely right. Why do we do that? Because we want to pay less tax. Otherwise, अगर मैं inputs पे इससे I have to pay only from my pocket. In cash, I am paying very less tax. That is the core concept of GST, Medha. So extra 360 amount is paid by seller. Yes, it is paid. It is paid by the seller. मतलब, but he will take it from buyer. क्योंकि indirect tax is a burden is borne by the buyer. तो वो buyer से वो 360 rupees लेगा और आगे deposit कर देगा. He just have to deposit. Okay, last part now it clear. Okay, fine. Sakti, you are you know that. Now let us see if vendor has sold goods to government. In this context, should vendor collect GST? किसी को भी सेल करे वो, उससे हमें फर्क नहीं पड़ता. अरुण सागर, वी आर नॉट कंसर्न whom we are selling it to. Tax will be charged. That is not an issue. Separate exemptions or other things can be there. Reverse charge provision, something can be there. But अभी हमें वो सब पे नहीं जाना. किसी को भी सेल कर रहा हो, गवर्नमेंट से लेके गवर्नमेंट को डिपॉजिट करना है, वो कोई इशू नहीं है. इट विल बी सेम. अब हम इसमें एक नेक्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट देखने वाले हैं जो कि इस हमारे इलस्ट्रेशन के अंदर था. अभी तक अगर आप सेकंड, इफ यू सी दी सेकंड इलस्ट्रेशन, we have covered till this point of time. This point we have covered, and you have understood it also. You can see it afterwards. We just have to see at this point of time, at this point, till this point, everything is clear to all of you that how we have utilized the ITC. Only problem which students generally have is in this statement of revenue earned by central and state government. कि अब ये हमने ITC यूज कर लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया, अब एक अकाउंट से दूसरे अकाउंट में हमने कंसोलिडेटेड फंड की बात की थी, अगर आपको ध्यान हो चैप्टर 1 में वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट कंसोलिडेटेड फंड. So there we had understood that how the credit is being that every government has its revenue in its consolidated fund. तो हम अगर उस अकाउंट की बात करें तो उस अकाउंट में कैसे पैसे एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जा रहे हैं इस पर्टिकुलर ट्रांजेक्शन के अंदर, इस एग्जाम्पल के अंदर, दैट इज द मेन कॉन्सेप्ट. यहाँ पे सबसे ज्यादा बच्चों को प्रॉब्लम आती है. वट एवर क्वेरीज वी गेट फ्रॉम स्टूडेंट्स whenever I take the class, this is the point where students get confused. So for this I have tried to give it a pictorial representation. Let us see if you can understand it with that. I have tried in that way. हम इसमें तीनों ट्रांजेक्शन्स को एक एक करके लेंगे. पहली ट्रांजेक्शन थी जहां पे वैल्यू 10,000 रुपीज थी. स्टेट ए था, स्टेट दोनों स्टेट ए में हो रहा है और एक्स ने ए को गुड्स बेचे, CGST और SGST 900 रुपीज. अब इस एग्जाम्पल के अंदर जो मनी का ट्रांसफर है वो वट एवर टैक्स वी आर पेइंग इन कैश दैट आई हैव रिप्रेजेंटेड इन रेड कलर एंड वट एवर टैक्स वी आर पेइंग थ्रू क्रेडिट आई हैव रिप्रेजेंटेड दैट इन ग्रीन कलर. ठीक है, जो कैश वाला टैक्स हम पे करेंगे वो मैंने रेड कलर से दिखाया है क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कैश में थोड़ा हर किसी को पिंच होता है जब टैक्स कैश में पे होता है. ग्रीन मतलब ITC मिल गया तो हम खुश हैं कि चलो ITC मिल गया, हमें अपनी पॉकेट से नहीं देना पड़ा टैक्स. ठीक है गुंजन, अभी मैं आपकी क्वेरी का आंसर करती हूँ, पहले लेट मी एक्सप्लेन दिस. तो ये अब हमने पहला ट्रांजेक्शन जो था वहां पे कुछ भी ITC में अवेलेबल नहीं था. इसका मतलब एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी पेड इन कैश. CGST SGST 900 का पे हमने कैश में कर दिया होगा. 900 का CGST हमने सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को पे किया होगा, 900 का CGST हमने स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को पे किया होगा. तो ये अब तीनों के पॉट्स हैं, तीनों के अकाउंट्स हैं भाई, तीनों के अपने अपने अकाउंट्स यहाँ लिखे हुए हैं. ये सेंटर का अकाउंट है, ये स्टेट 1 का, ये स्टेट 2 का. फर्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन में स्टेट 2 तो अभी पिक्चर में ही नहीं है तो अभी इसको तो हम भूल जाएंगे. अब कहाँ किसके पास पैसे जा रहे हैं उसके लिए देखो आप. सबसे पहले 900 रुपीज कैश में हमने सेंटर को दे दिए. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू यू. और ये SGST जो मैंने पे किया उससे स्टेट के पास 900 रुपीज कैश में आ गए. अब इन दोनों के अकाउंट में यहां पर 900 रुपीज पड़े हुए हैं. ठीक है, आई होप दिस ट्रांजेक्शन इज क्लियर टू यू ऑल. लेट अस कम टू सेकंड ट्रांजेक्शन. अब उसके बाद सेकंड ट्रांजेक्शन हुई, अभी कुछ और ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं हो रही, सिर्फ यही ट्रांजेक्शन हो रही है समझने के लिए. सेकंड ट्रांजेक्शन में हमने देखा हमने IGST 2160 का पे करना था और उसके लिए हमने क्या किया, 900 का CGST का क्रेडिट यूज किया और 900 का SGST का क्रेडिट यूज किया. ठीक है, और 360 रुपीज हमने कैश में पे किए. अब इसको समझो आप कि ये अब इसमें रेवेन्यू फ्लो क्या हो रहा है. गोल्टी, दिस इज व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू एक्सप्लेन. आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग दिस ओनली कि हु इज गोइंग टू पे, किसके पास कहां से, वो स्टेट 1 टू स्टेट 2 वाला जो पॉइंट है दैट इज व्हाट आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग. आप जस्ट मुझे बस 2 मिनट दो, इसको समझो जो मैं भी समझा रही हूँ. दिस विल बी क्लियर. A और B, अच्छा A और B नहीं, आप A और B में जो कह रहे हो who will deposit the tax you want to know. Tax is always deposited by the supplier. He takes it from recipient and he deposits it to the government. तो डिपॉजिट करने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सप्लायर की होती है और लेकिन वो किससे लेता है वो टैक्स, वो उस टैक्स को चार्ज करता है रिसिपिएंट से. ओके, who can claim? Now who can claim ITC? ITC is claimed by the recipient. जब आप बायर होते हो तभी आप ITC क्लेम करते हो. जैसे इस ट्रांजेक्शन में अगर हम देखेंगे तो X और A की ट्रांजेक्शन में जब A ने B को सेल किया तो उसने इस ट्रांजेक्शन पे जो GST पे किया था उसको एज ITC A ने क्लेम किया क्योंकि ये 2160 A को पे करना था. A had to pay 2160. So for paying that it has utilized the ITC of CGST and SGST 900. So credit is taken by the recipient. इस ट्रांजेक्शन में A recipient था. It has taken the credit of 900 CGST and SGST. In this transaction, A is supplier. So he has to use this ITC as when he becomes a supplier and he is paying tax on his output tax liability. But credit वो लेता कब है, avail कब करता है, as recipient. Okay. Now let us go to this particular transaction. यहाँ पे हमने देख लिया 900 CGST 900 SGST के हमने कैश में फर्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन में पे कर दिए. दोनों के पास 900 रुपीज का क्रेडिट, अब मतलब 900 रुपीज दोनों के अकाउंट में आ गए. अब सेकंड ट्रांजेक्शन में हमने देखा कि ये 2160 पे करने के लिए ए ने क्या किया, 900 ITC यूज किया, 900 का CGST वाला 900 SGST वाला ITC यूज किया और 360 रुपीज कैश पे पे किए। IGST किसके पास जाता है? सबसे पहले सेंटर के पास जाता है, वो बाद में अपोर्शन करता है, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग। ITC ऑफ IGST ITC इज अपोर्शन बाय IGST इज अपोर्शन बाय सेंटर in between center and state, that is a different thing, but first it goes to the center. That all of you will agree, we have done it so many times in chapter 1. IGST goes to center. So IGST सेंटर के पास अब 2160 पहुंच जानी चाहिए। हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव यहाँ पे ये रहेगा that center should get 2160 rupees because this is an interstate transaction. How center will get it? This we have to see. 900 rupees का जो क्रेडिट CGST का था, जो हमने प्रीवियस स्लाइड में भी देखा, 900 सेंटर के पास ऑलरेडी थे, तो वो तो उसके पास ऑलरेडी रहने चाहिए, उससे मत लो वापस, बिकॉज दिस ही हैज ऑलरेडी दिस 900 रुपीज इज देयर विद सेंटर, ये एज इट इज रहेगा, विल नॉट डू एनीथिंग। SGST यानी स्टेट 1 के पास जो ये 900 रुपीज का क्रेडिट है, दिस इट हैज टू गिव इट टू सेंटर। स्टेट 1 को अपना ये पैसा सेंटर को देना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज दिस नाउ बिलोंग्स टू सेंटर। हमने उसका क्रेडिट यूज कर लिया सेंटर के एक टैक्स को पे करने के लिए, यानी IGST को पे करने के लिए। सो दिस 900 हैज टू बी गिवन बाय स्टेट A टू सेंटर, and this 360 rupees will be paid in cash. Let us see the pictorial representation and I will ask if this transaction is clear to you all or not. So 900 rupees state 1 ने center को दे दिए, ठीक है। Once again let us see this 900 rupees SGST credit जो था वो state 1 ने सेंटर को दे दिया। अब स्टेट के पास पहले, सेंटर के पास पहले अपने 900 रुपीज, स्टेट 1 से 900 रुपीज आ गए। दूसरा 900 का क्रेडिट ऑलरेडी था, वो उसके पास ही रहा। CGST का क्रेडिट वो सेंटर के पास था, IGST के लिए यूज कर लिया तो सेंटर के पास ही रहा। ये जो हमने यूज किया ये सेंटर टू सेंटर हो गया। ये ट्रांजेक्शन सेंटर से सेंटर के बीच में हुई, ये स्टेट 1 से सेंटर के बीच में, ठीक है। सो आई होप दिस इज ऑल्सो क्लियर टू यू ऑल। और थर्ड जो है 360 रुपीज कैश, वो भी हमने सेंटर के पास पे कर दिया, तो सेंटर के पास यहाँ पे 360 और आ गया। तो अब सेंटर के पास कितना आ गया? 2160। दैट वाज व्हाट ड्यू विद द सेंटर, दैट शुड हैव बीन पेड टू द सेंटर। पर रेवेन्यू फ्लो कैसे हुआ? जो सेंटर के पास ऑलरेडी था CGST की फॉर्म में, वो IGST बन गया। 900 रुपीज का जो स्टेट 1 के पास था वो हमने सेंटर को दिलवा दिया कि आप अपना भाई स्टेट 1 से बोला आप सेंटर को दे दीजिए 900 रुपीज, और 360 रुपीज वी हैव पेड कैश। सो फाइनली सेंटर हैज 2160 इन हिज अकाउंट। आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू यू। अभी स्टेट 2 के पास अभी कुछ नहीं आया, ठीक है। क्यों नहीं आया? क्योंकि ये IGST ट्रांजेक्शन थी, तो अभी IGST ट्रांजेक्शन में मतलब स्टेट 2 के पास अपना अपोर्शनमेंट जाएगा, वो बाद में जाएगा, डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज विद दैट। बट अभी क्योंकि ये IGST ट्रांजेक्शन थी तो IGST पूरा सेंटर को बिलोंग करता है, तो एक बार तो सारे पैसे अब सेंटर के पास आ चुके हैं 2160। ओके, लेट मी सी योर क्वेरीज। Mustafa is very right. Again, we are concerning about GST department that they don't get any loss. They have their amount full. तो गवर्नमेंट सर्विसेज का तो बहुत सबको वो हो जाता है कि अरे भाई क्यों हो रहा है, स्टेट का कुछ रहा ही नहीं। हाँ मेधा, इट्स नॉट अनफेयर। स्टेट को अभी ये जो आपका जो IGST का अमाउंट है ना, ये अपोर्शन होता है। ये IGST का अमाउंट जो है ना, ये सेंटर और स्टेट में अपोर्शन होता है, तो स्टेट को अपना शेयर अभी मिलेगा, डोंट वरी। मेधा को भी अब स्टेट की चिंता हुई कि भाई स्टेट को कुछ पैसे नहीं मिल रहे इस ट्रांजेक्शन में। अभी हमें उस पर नहीं जाना, वो आगे कैसे अपोर्शन होगा वो नहीं देखना, हमें देखना है IGST 2160 है विच इज अ सेंटर टैक्स। सो सेंटर हैज गॉट दैट अमाउंट, इट विल, ये सेंटर की ड्यूटी है कैसे अपोर्शन करना है। स्टेट्स अपना पैसा छोड़ने नहीं वाले हैं, आप इतनी उसकी टेंशन बिल्कुल मत लो। यस, 360 विल गो टू सेंटर। कृष्णा, यू आर राइट। ओके, स्टेट 1 को लॉस नहीं होगा ना, अल्टीमेटली कहाँ कंज्यूम हो रहे हैं गुड्स, स्टेट 1 के पास अल्टीमेटली कंज्यूम नहीं हुए हैं। वी नलिफाइड सम पोर्शन ऑफ IGST विद अर्लियर, यस, CGST एंड SGST, तो हमने वो सारा का सारा IGST में अब ट्रांसफर कर दिया। तो अब आपको, अब इस स्लाइड से जब नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में जाएंगे तो आपको ये याद रखना है कि सेंटर के पास अब इस टाइम पे 2160 रुपीज है, इन दोनों के पास कुछ भी नहीं है अब, ठीक है। अब नेक्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन देखते हैं। नेक्स्ट ट्रांजेक्शन इज दैट वी हैव टू पे, B has to pay on this transaction CGST of 1296 and SGST of 1296। अब यहां पर क्या होना चाहिए, सेंटर के पास इतने आ जाना चाहिए अमाउंट 1296 का, और स्टेट यानी सेंटर के पास इतना अमाउंट रह जाना चाहिए, और स्टेट के पास ये अमाउंट आ जाना चाहिए। और ये स्टेट कौन सा होगा? ये होगा स्टेट 2, क्योंकि यहाँ पर जो आपका कंज्यूमिंग स्टेट है वो स्टेट 2 है। ठीक है। सो फॉर दैट व्हाट वी विल डू, अब आईजीएसटी को जब हमें सीजीएसटी एसजीएसटी के लिए यूज करना, हम देख चुके हैं हमने कैसे किया था, उस पर हम दोबारा नहीं जाएंगे वरना हम उस कॉन्सेप्ट को समझ नहीं पाएंगे। सो फॉर दिस वी हैव यूज्ड 1296, सॉरी जस्ट अ मिनट। सो यहाँ पे हमने क्या किया था, सीजीएसटी का 1296, सीजीएसटी को पे करने के लिए 1296 आईजीएसटी का क्रेडिट यूज कर लिया था, और 864 का क्रेडिट एसजीएसटी को पे करने के लिए यूज किया था। ओके, एंड 3 this was, again I forgot that amount, 432. 432 we had paid in cash. I hope this was clear to you all. हमने इसी तरह से इस ट्रांजेक्शन को किया था। अब यहाँ पे रेवेन्यू कैसे शिफ्ट हुआ होगा? Before seeing the diagrammatic presentation, we'll see first of all how it would have been done. सीजीएसटी को पे करने के लिए हमने आईजीएसटी यूज किया 1296, यानी सेंटर टू सेंटर है ये। तो सेंटर के पास 1296 जितने थे हमने कहा होगा अपने पास रखो, ये आप ही के बनते हैं अभी। फिर एसजीएसटी 1296, अब हमने कहा यहां पर ये स्टेट 2 के पास इतने पैसे पहुंच जाने चाहिए 1296 के। वो कैसे पहुंचे? हमने पहले सेंटर को बोला भैया आप 864 रुपीज इसको दे दीजिए स्टेट 2 को, क्योंकि तभी इसके पास के पैसे इसके पूरे होंगे। तो 864 का जो क्रेडिट यूज करना है उसके लिए हमने ये किया, हमने सेंटर टू स्टेट 2, और 432 हमने कैश में पे किया, किसको? स्टेट 2 को। तो स्टेट 2 के पास अपना पूरा अमाउंट पहुंच गया। ये सेंटर से एरो है, सॉरी सेंटर 2 लिखना चाह रही थी मैं, सेंटर से सेंटर, ये सेंटर से स्टेट, और ये स्टेट 2 को डायरेक्टली मिल जाएगा। तो ये पूरा 1296 स्टेट का हो जाएगा, स्टेट 2 का, ये 1296 सेंटर का हो जाएगा। यस, सो बेसिकली यहाँ पर स्टेट के पास हमारा जो पैसा पड़ा है वो यूज करके वो सेंटर को दे देगा, ताकि हमारी सेंटर की लायबिलिटी, या पिछली ट्रांजेक्शन की बात कर रहे थे ना, अभी तो सेंटर जो है वो अपना स्टेट की स्टेट को पे कर रहा है, ताकि स्टेट की आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी पे हो जाए। ठीक है, तो 1296 जो सेंटर के पास था वो सेंटर के पास पड़ा रहा। एक बार दोबारा देख लेते हैं हम इसको। 1296 सेंटर का सेंटर के पास रहा, जो कि पहली ट्रांजेक्शन थी। आई होप दिस ट्रांजेक्शन इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू। सेकेंड, सेंटर ने स्टेट 2 को दे दिया 864 रुपीज, ये भी क्लियर हो गया, मिस तो नहीं किया किसी ने छोटा सा विजुअल जो था। और थर्ड था कैश का 432 रुपीज। वील वंस अगेन सी दिस ट्रांसफर जो हमने अभी किया है, इसमें ये इससे थोड़ा सा मेसी हो गया। अल्टीमेटली आपको पता है कि सेंटर के पास और स्टेट के पास कितने कितने पैसे जाने चाहिए, अब हम वो देख रहे हैं कि वो किस तरीके से हुआ होगा। ठीक है, तो लेट अस सी दिस। सो फर्स्ट सेंटर हैड 1296, जो कि सेंटर से सेंटर के पास रहा, ये ट्रांजेक्शन हो गई। अब इसको दो तरह से पे हुआ था, 864 तो सेंटर ने दे दिया था स्टेट 2 को, और 432 कैश पे हो गया था स्टेट 2 को। तो कैसे हुआ? सेंटर हैज गिवन 864 टू स्टेट 2 एंड 432 का कैश स्टेट 2 के पास पहुंच गया। तो अब स्टेट 2 के पास कितने पैसे आ गए यहाँ पे? 1296, और सेंटर के पास कितने रह गए? 1296। This was what we finally wanted them to have, and after third transaction this is what each of the state and center has. Can we do alternatively by utilizing 2160 in proportionate manner? बिल्कुल अनिल, आप कैसे भी कर सकते हो। 2160 you can utilize equally for CGST, SGST. You can do opposite. You can pay the entire amount of SGST, and CGST में आप कुछ कैश में कुछ क्रेडिट यूज कर सकते हो। In any manner you can do. रिद्धि बहन इज अगेन कंसर्न अबाउट स्टेट 1। स्टेट 1 को कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि फाइनली जो वो सप्लाई है वो कहाँ कंज्यूम हुई है? स्टेट 2 में कंज्यूम हुई है। इसीलिए अब स्टेट 2 के पास वो प्रोपोर्शन या अमाउंट चला गया। स्टेट 1 पे का वहां पे कुछ कंज्यूम नहीं हुआ है। अल्टीमेटली वो गुड्स कहाँ कंज्यूम है? वही गुड्स जब बार बार सप्लाई हो रहे हैं। गुड्स का एग्जाम्पल थोड़ा ईजी होता है लेने के लिए, दैट इज आई एम टेकिंग दिस एग्जाम्पल। So goods, they are being transferred from state 1, ultimately they are being consumed in state 2. Okay. Any doubt in this particular example? जीएसटी टाइटन क्विज हमें करना था, बट आज नहीं, अब हम नेक्स्ट क्लास में करेंगे. इन नेक्स्ट क्लास वील टेक, और अगर इफ पॉसिबल, I want to, okay, clear. This is clear. If anybody has any doubt in this, first of all, let me know. And then let us see that table also, which we were doing. That here, first of all, in X2A, 900 credit was there, 360 cash was being paid. Then what is being transferred? 900. This pictorial representation, I think, would have explained you that how the money is being transferred from one point to another. Just to give you again that idea, let me once again go through this. Okay, first of all, erase this one. So this would have explained you the flow of revenue. कि revenue कैसे flow कर रहा है एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पे. I hope you would have got this point. Anybody has any doubt? I'm getting some messages. Medha, okay, it is clear. Krishna, basically जिस स्टेट ने बिजनेस करके दिया, हाँ मतलब जो लास्ट में जहां पे बिजनेस पहुंचा, क्योंकि आपको क्रेडिट अगर यूज कर रहे हो आप, तो क्रेडिट का फ्लो इसी तरह से चलेगा. तो जिस स्टेट में कंज्यूम हो रहे हैं गुड्स, अभी हमने माना स्टेट 2 में फाइनली दीज गुड्स आर बीइंग कंज्यूम, तो स्टेट 2 का अगर फर्दर कोई ट्रांजेक्शन हो जाएगी तो फिर कंज्यूमिंग स्टेट वो बन जाएगा, स्टेट 2 को फिर उसको देना पड़ेगा. मान लीजिए स्टेट 3 में ट्रांजेक्शन हो जाती है, then everything will go to, और ये इंटरस्टेट ट्रांजेक्शन हो जाएगी, then it will go to center and center will apportion that amount to state 3. जहां पे भी फाइनली गुड्स कंज्यूम हो रहे हैं उसी को ही रेवेन्यू मिलेगा. दिस टेबल is easy for me, but I understand anyway. Okay, you understood that table from you understood from this table, Mustafa. मतलब आपको समझ आ गया ना मुस्तफा ये point. Satish, okay, it's clear. Good. Mitesh has asked me something. I have not remembered section wise, and also I have attended fast track or revision lecture and not regular lecture. Is it sufficient? Okay, Mitesh, you are appearing for, please let me know if you are appearing for September examination. That is why you are asking this, or January or May 26. This batch is for May 26. January students also generally attend this to know the latest law. But you please let me know which attempt you are appearing in. Okay, so once again, we have shared the WhatsApp group. We have created new WhatsApp group actually for January and May 26 students. And this is the link which has been shared by Mr. Ajit Kumar, our technical person. He has shared with you the WhatsApp group link. We will share this link we have shared this link in the chat box also. So please join with this link now. Okay. And students who are appearing in January and May 26 have to join this group. For other students, we have a separate group for September students. So anybody who is appearing in September would have been a part of that group already. जो अमाउंट कैश में आ रहा है वो रिसिपिएंट पे करेगा. अच्छा गुंजन, देखिए गुंजन, वैसे मैंने आपको बताया ना कि जीएसटी इज एन इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स. So amount is taken from the recipient and deposited by the supplier. जैसे हमें अपनी ट्रांजैक्शन में देखते हैं कैसे हो रहा है, ठीक है. X ने A को सेल किया 900 रुपीज का CGST और SGST चार्ज हुआ. ओके, दिस इज 900. Now X would have taken 900 CGST and SGST and it would have deposited it to the government. So it has gone from A's pocket, but who has deposited it? X has deposited it. चार्ज और GST में आपने यही किया था कि रिवर्स चार्ज में क्या होता है, उल्टा हो जाता है. रिवर्स चार्ज में A अपनी पॉकेट से सीधा गवर्नमेंट को डिपॉजिट कर देता है, X को कुछ नहीं करना होता उसमें, ठीक है. A to B ट्रांजेक्शन में A has taken this amount from B and he has deposited it to the government. This not 360, in fact, it is 2160. Entire amount of 2160 is deposited by A to government. And in transaction of B to C, B has taken this tax of 1296 plus 1296 from C and it would have deposited it to the government. Actually, it has become so messy, you would not be able to understand it. So what would have actually happened? That B would have taken this amount from C and it would have deposited it with the government. तो किसकी पॉकेट से गया? रिसिपिएंट की पॉकेट से जा रहा है. अल्टीमेटली जो बर्डन है वो रिसिपिएंट को बियर करना है, लेकिन डिपॉजिट कौन कर रहा है? सप्लायर. अगर हम आरसीएम, ये होता है फॉरवर्ड चार्ज. अगर हम आरसीएम की बात करते हैं तो उसमें क्या होता है? उसमें उल्टा हो जाता है, रिवर्स हो जाता है. हम रिसिपिएंट को बोलते हैं आप ही अपनी पॉकेट से सीधा गवर्नमेंट को डिपॉजिट कर देना, ठीक है. और जो स्टूडेंट्स have joined the other group, please join this group also. You can leave that group and you can join this group because January and May 26 specific information will be there. It is for September 26 also. अच्छा, all permutation and combinations is not possible. I mean spreading IGST, CGST, SGST. No. Permutation and combination is possible utilizing IGST for payment of CGST and SGST. You can use you can use it in 50-50 proportion, 10-90, 20-80, or entirely for CGST if you have very less amount of IGST credit. That is also possible. So we'll be sharing the WhatsApp link again, Steffi. WhatsApp group link. Please join that group. CG is the villain for us. It will collect all GST amount. But CG will apportion it also, Mustafa. You remember chapter 1 where we had discussed that CG will, central government will apportion. जहां पे IGST वाला अमाउंट था ये, जैसे ये वाला जो था आपका, this IGST amount will be apportioned by the central government between state and center. Don't worry. So center will get its share. Everybody is very much bothered about center's loss. That is not the case. We can take a simple example of food slip. We pay tax on restaurant as a recipient and paid by the supplier. Very good, Meeta. आप रेस्टोरेंट में टैक्स पे करते हो, आपकी पॉकेट से जाता है, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली गवर्नमेंट को कौन टैक्स देता है? रेस्टोरेंट ओनर. सो यू आर नॉट पेइंग द टैक्स टू द गवर्नमेंट. रेस्टोरेंट ओनर इज पेइंग द टैक्स टू द गवर्नमेंट. You are just, it is getting paid from your pocket, but not directly to the government. Indirectly you are paying that tax. That is why it is an indirect tax. So बोलती सी CGST with no, CGST and SGST का क्रॉस यूटिलाइजेशन बिल्कुल भी अवेलेबल नहीं है. ये तो आपको अभी से पता होना चाहिए, बट जब आप ITC का चैप्टर कर लोगे तो तब आप बहुत अच्छे से इस चीज को समझ पाओगे कि ये क्रॉस यूटिलाइजेशन बिल्कुल भी पॉसिबल नहीं है. ग्रुप लिंक देखो अभी ग्रुप में शेयर हुआ है, मतलब इस मेन चैट में शेयर हुआ है खुशनूर. This is the WhatsApp link which has been shared. You all should join it so that you can. हमने बहुत बार शेयर कर दिया और कर देंगे एक बार शेयर. Yes, Anubhav has again shared it, so you can get it from that. Yes, it will be FCM. Whatever we have discussed कि अगर supplier जो tax pay करता है, that is an FCM. Gunjan is saying ITC payment करने के बाद मिलती है. I have one. हाँ. Mitesh query I think has been answered ना? नहीं. I'm answering. Gunjan is saying ITC tax करने के बाद, हाँ ये तो हो गया. ठीक है, I have answered it. Mitesh had asked me the query regarding, that's why I moved to some other point after his query. So you have not remembered section wise and you want, see Mitesh, I always stressed upon in this class, I have explained all of you that remembering sections, rules, notifications and circulars is a secondary thing. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन द प्रोविजन. आपको सबसे पहले प्रोविजन समझना है. कहीं भी आपको एक चीज और मैंने आपको बताई थी एग्जाम्स के लिए कि whenever you are doing any computational questions, whatever expenses, outward, inward supplies are given to you, and if you are considering, that have to be for that explanatory notes have to be provided. Reasoning has to be provided. Why you are using it in final answer, or you are not considering it, you are deducting it, whatever treatment you are given it, the given treatment has to be supported by the sufficient reasoning. Even if some expense has no bearing or no impact on the final answer, आपको कोई final answer निकालना है और आपको कोई particular expense, कोई outward inward supply consider ही नहीं करनी, then also reasoning has to be provided. So whatever items are there in the question, you have to provide explanatory notes for that. And in that explanatory notes, you should give the reasoning for that provision. Don't quote just section rules and notification circular numbers. उन पे आप focus अभी at intermediate level, you should not focus on them. And in case you are providing those rules or section numbers, they should be absolutely correct. So if you have not remembered section, then that is not a problem. You want to ask me section wise weightage if you want to ask me. I'm not very sure what you are trying to ask. If you're asking about section-wise weightage, that is available on the website that you can see. Okay, Deepika says, shall we leave? Yes, Deepika, it would be better if you leave the old WhatsApp group because there you will not be getting your specific information and that will confuse you on otherwise. So that is not required. ओके मुस्तफा से FCM RCM मैं एक बार फिर से एक्सप्लेन कर रही हूँ आपको. वैसे आपने चार्ज ऑफ GST में सिर्फ RCM पढ़ा था तो FCM भी बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ा था, बट अगेन आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू, डोंट वरी एट ऑल. FCM is forward charge mechanism where under GST the normal principle is that the supplier has to pay the tax. Pay the tax means deposit the tax. When I say supplier, person liable to pay tax. The person liable to pay tax, जब हम बात करते हैं, who is the person liable to pay tax in GST? Normally it is the supplier. Liable to pay tax मतलब liability to deposit. तो अगर आपको सप्लायर को जनरल लाइबिलिटी है, जनरली द लाइबिलिटी टू पे टैक्स हैज बीन कास्टेड ऑन द सप्लायर. Supplier, what he has to do, he has to take it from the recipient and he has to pay it to the government. That is the normal mechanism and that is called forward charge mechanism or FCM. Okay. In case you have to pay the tax liability to pay tax has been casted on the recipient. अगर हम liability to pay tax recipient के ऊपर डाल देते हैं, then that becomes reverse charge mechanism. अब यहाँ पे क्या है कि पहले भी ऑलरेडी रिसिपिएंट की पॉकेट से पैसे जा रहे थे, लेकिन डिपॉजिट करने की लाइबिलिटी सब गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर, मतलब सॉरी गवर्नमेंट के सप्लायर के ऊपर थी. जैसे बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल मेधा ने दिया था अभी कि रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस. अब आई गो टू अ रेस्टोरेंट, आई पे 100 रुपीज एज जीएसटी ऑन वट एवर आई हैव सर्विसेज आई हैव टेकन. अगर वो मुझे डिपॉजिट करना हो तो मैं तो रेस्टोरेंट से जाऊं ही ना, क्योंकि मुझे हर किसी का टैक्स इसी तरह से एज अ रिसिपिएंट पे करना होगा, तो इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. आई हैव borne the burden, I have paid it from my own pocket 100 rupees to the restaurant owner, but now the liability to deposit it with the government is with the restaurant owner, because और उसकी जितनी भी compliances हैं, रिटर्न की जो लाइबिलिटी है, सब कुछ सप्लायर के ऊपर है. बट रिवर्स चार्ज के केस में, जैसे कुछ वन ऑफ द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ रिवर्स चार्ज आर द केसेस वेयर द फॉरवर्ड चार्ज सप्लायर जहां अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर है वहां पे भी रिवर्स चार्ज लग जाता है. तो जो रिसिपिएंट है उस पर हम ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कास्ट करते हैं दैट ही हैज टू डिपॉजिट दैट टैक्स विद द गवर्नमेंट. तो पहले भी रिसिपिएंट की पॉकेट से ही जा रहा था, लेकिन डिपॉजिट कौन कर रहा था? सप्लायर. फॉरवर्ड चार्ज में सप्लायर डिपॉजिट करता है, रिसिपिएंट डिपॉजिट करता है रिवर्स चार्ज के केस में. वो सारे केसेस आपने लास्ट क्लास में बहुत अच्छे से पढ़े थे, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है सारे क्वेश्चंस के लिए, एग्जाम में आपको अच्छे से करने हैं. हर्ष, सेक्शन 10 आप मुझसे पूछ रहे हैं. सेक्शन 10, I have taken goods or services from business which is registered under composition. Is that situation I can get ITC? No. In that situation, Arun Sagar, you cannot get the ITC and you cannot pay that, and the tax which you are paying, matlab the amount which you are paying under composition, the recipient also cannot take ITC of that. But ये आप ITC के चैप्टर में बहुत अच्छे से करोगे. इतना जब भी आपने जो मुझसे पूछा, that is relevant for composition scheme, that you should know कि composition scheme supplier को ITC available नहीं होता. आरसीएम जो है वो जैसे रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस में आपका एफसीएम लग रहा है. हाँ बिल्कुल ठीक. आईटी सेक्टर में आरसीएम कौन सा है मेधा? इफ यू कैन गिव मी सम एग्जांपल इन आईटी सेक्टर. आई डोंट रिमेंबर एनी एग्जांपल. आरसीएम आईटी सेक्टर में कैसे लगता है? कुछ आप मुझे एग्जांपल दो. ओके मुस्तफा, कोई नहीं, बट दैट वाज डन इन शॉर्ट एंड क्विकली यू हैड डन दैट, सो दैट इज आल्सो अ पॉजिटिव पॉइंट ऑफ इट. Section 10, Harsh, quickly I will explain it to you because abhi I think I have to check whether Vishal sir has joined or not. Yes, Vishal sir is already there with us. So he will be taking the place of supply provisions with you. And since they are complex provisions, you will require time for that also. Let me quickly explain you the composition scheme concept. That it is a scheme for the small traders and small business. Small service providers, small businesses, that up to a turnover, in case your turnover in the preceding financial year is 1.5 crores, and subject to other conditions also, that you are engaged in only supplying the intrastate, you are engaged in making intrastate outward supplies, you are not supplying anything which is any goods or services which is not leviable to GST, any such kind of supplies you are not making, then in the current year you can pay tax at a lower rate of, that is specified, that is 1% or 5%. 5% in case of restaurant service provider. Only one service provider is included in the main section 10.1 and 10.2, that is restaurant service provider. So if in case you are restaurant service provider or manufacturer or trader, you will be eligible to pay the tax at the lower rate of 1% in case of manufacturer trader, in case of the restaurant service 5%. So that will be CGST plus SGST. That means 0.5% CGST, 0.5% SGST, and same way it will work for restaurant service also. 2.5% CGST and 2.5% SGST till the time your turnover becomes exceeds 1.5 crores in the current financial year. And apart from, so no other service is allowed under section 10.1 and 10.2. However, a proviso specifically allows you to provide some marginal amount of services along with this, and that is 10% of the previous year's turnover in the state or 5 lakhs, whichever is higher. Up to that amount, you can pay you can provide these services also in the current financial year. Otherwise, you cannot supply any other services exceeding that particular amount. I have a company and raise an invoice through any third party like PayPal or some. GST has to be paid by the recipient directly to the PayPal, and I have to get it in my. We'll get our money in just a minute. Let me understand this point, Medha. Okay, Anil, I would be this for now. Vishal sir will be taking the rest of the session for place of supply. Yes, we'll be there. I will be there in the classes for maybe for GST Titan quiz or some small concepts in between. At the end of the session, I might come for some time and might take some of the concepts. Who are registered, but they're not entitled to take or charge GST from the receipt. Arun, they are not entitled to take the normal GST at the normal rates, but the specified rates which we have discussed, 1% or 5%, they are eligible to take if they are primarily in the supply of goods. If they are small service providers, then the rate of 6% GST is 6% is applicable for them. But at normal rates, they do not charge the GST. One more query has been left. That was. Just give me 1 minute, I think. Some query I have left. Can you please put it again? Okay. Good night, Mustafa. So, अभी आपकी पूरी क्लास बची हुई है वैसे. Some query I think was there. Anil has asked some query. Now I remember this. No. Some other query was there regarding somebody was asking. Medha was asking. Yes. Yes, no, yes, Medha, actually, I'm not able to understand your query particularly. GST has to be paid by the recipient directly to the PayPal. So then in that case, that is only a transaction in money, Medha. The service which PayPal is providing to the supplier, it will get the amount from the supplier, and then the GST liability will be discharged accordingly. But this is not RCM FCM case which you are discussing. Yes, she is talking about RCM, I suppose, but that will not apply here. Some queries are not coming to everyone because some people are posting queries in the separately still, though we have asked everyone to post query with everyone. So with this, I'm handing over the class to Vishal sir so that he can start with place of supply provisions. And can we stop the, once I exit the session, my sharing will also stop. Okay, I will take your query, Medha. Don't worry. You can write at IDT-enter also, your query at ICAI.in. Otherwise, in next class, at the end of next class, I will take your query. Bye, Mustafa. Okay, we'll do it in next class. So, sir, you can start your session. Welcome, Vishal, sir. Bye, Medha. Please, sir को co-host बनाना पड़ेगा ना? अच्छा, we just have to wait for some more time. Sir has to be made co-host. Bye, Shamli. Okay, some net issue. Thank you, Medha. Thank you so much. I also want to be associated with you all. So I would be there at the end of the classes. I will try to come in each and every class. Whatever you want to share, whatever you want to ask, you can do that. Don't worry. Bye, Adil. Okay. So you got that from Mustafa has got that idea from the morning class. Okay. So thank you, Deepika. Vedant is asking for the WhatsApp link again. Vedant, we'll keep sharing this WhatsApp group link. Don't worry, you will get it. Yes, Krishna. I also want to see all of you soon. So maybe in next class I will be joining. Thank you, Nashin. Thank you, Lingaraju. So Anubhav has once again shared the WhatsApp group link. Please, all of you join the WhatsApp group. Please be regular in these classes. And as I always suggest you to go home after the class and revise the topic. Once the class is over, revise the topic. Come prepared with the revised topic next day. That will help you. In fact, 8th August notes I had not yet uploaded, but today I will get them uploaded. I have made the PDF for you. Thank you, Shraddha Aditya. So we'll be, you can revise from that. But please revise all the sessions simultaneously along with the class itself. Once the class is over, revise the concept then and there itself so that you are in continuity with the provision. Yes. Okay, you'll be writing your question to know. Yes, yes, yes. You can definitely ask your doubts, Mustafa. That is not an issue. So, as I already told you, in place of supply, we'll be discussing section 10 and section 12. So, provisions of section 13, provisions of section 11, 13, 14, and 14A are not there in your syllabus. So, you have to be very clear in that. So, any question which you are doing on cross-border transaction or this goes any cross-border transaction, import-export transaction that is not there in your syllabus, be very careful in place of supply provisions. They are very important also. And you have to be very attentive also in this class. So we'll try to have some GST quiz for all the topics which we have discussed, or maybe specifically for place of supply in next class. By the end, at the end of next class, I will try to have that quiz. Come prepared. So whatever you are doing in today's class, revise it, and in next class, you have to be very attentive because my questions may be based on some topic, some provisions which sir would be discussing in the class. Prajyot, email is not opening. Which email you are asking, Prajyot? Because IDT-inter, you have to send your doubt. In case you have any doubt, sorry, inter-IDT at ICAI.in. Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for creating my PPT presentation. Okay. You like the presentation, Gopal? Okay. Okay. Vishal, sir, will you be, should I stop my screen? Should I, stop sharing?
That is fine, ma'am. I think once I share, it will automatically be stopped. Not a problem. I'm not sharing it fully because you were explaining. Huh?
Yes, yes, yes. So, sir, you start with your session. Students are waiting for place of supply provisions quite eagerly. And
I too am waiting eagerly. It is one of my favorite topics, as you know.
Yes, I know. In fact, the first session when I watched Vishal sir's session classes was the place of supply only. He teaches it very well. So you all have to be very attentive in the class and you will enjoy the class, I can promise. So I'm taking a leave. Goodbye, students. Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
So, students, we are meeting again. I was eagerly waiting for this evening time, the clock to click so that I can again connect. And I was even more happy because of the topic allotted. So, and you already had, I was listening to ma'am for around 12-13 minutes. So you had some very insightful pointers. So students, see, it is our endeavor at BOS to give you some very important, very minute interpretation when it comes to subjects like tax and laws. So it is our humble request that you please take out time, please take that special effort of studying. If you would be knowing, very recently, one of our students have secured, like many students are securing, but this is the very latest one. He has secured AIR and he only referred to the modules and the past exams, MTPs, RTPs, which are posted, and he was only exclusively attending our classes. So students, this is where BOS provides you that special niche and is taking all the extra efforts. And the best part, I'll tell you, students, of our BOS classes is this is the only forum where you have faculties from across India, and all faculties, you'll see that in every subject you get a flavor of 2-3 different faculties. So that helps you in even understanding the subject better in more deeper sense. So students, please, it is again my request that please be attentive, attend the classes physically live. The recorded options is only for revision. Don't make it your actual class, because the moment you are present live, physical, you will understand more, you will retain more, right? So yes, very good evening, Shamli, Anil, Anubhav, same here. I too have the same Anubhav. Yes, good evening, Mustafa, Kairvi. You were not present in the morning, beta. Abhinav, Prajyot, Medha, yes, same. It is, I really I am very enthusiastic taking up your classes. I eagerly wait because see, teaching is something very close to my heart. And when I get such good responsive students like you all, it is fun. So despite of I being traveling a lot, too much tired, first morning session, then continuously into too many things, but still, when I was knowing this that I have your class, my energy level was up by 200%. So yes, Sahil Kumar, good evening. Good evening, Jaya. Krishna, you are not there in the morning, beta. Good evening, Prajapati. Yes, good evening, Gunjan. Gunjan, sorry, I think your name is different. You are logging with your mother's name, if I'm not wrong. Good evening, Adil, Riddhi Ben, Rudra, Shashi, Linga R, Nausheen, Satish, पूजा, सेम ईयर हर्ष, ये मेरा, मैं हर्ष वायु में हूं आप लोगों से मिलके. यस, गुड इवनिंग आदित्य, अरुण सागर, माजिया, दीपिका, सेम हियर बेटा. गुड इवनिंग श्रद्धा, शक्ति, संध्या, प्रेरणा. Okay, Krishna, fine. Yes, same here, Sahil beta. Yes, Chaitra, very good evening. Okay, chalo. So we'll switch on to our topic, place of supply. But again, as a rule, before I land up to this topic, also this being my first GST lecture with you all, let me first understand from you. Yes, good evening, Harsh. Let me understand from you, what have you all understood till now in GST? So definitely, you have heard this, that GST is a destination-based consumption tax, right? Now, when you say GST is a destination-based consumption tax, what exactly it means? Can anybody explain me? If you want, I will unmute you. You can explain me. You need not type, or you can type and explain me. Yes, Karvi.
Good evening, sir.
Very good evening, beta.
Sir, GST is a destination-based tax, means that the tax is levied at the place where the good is consumed.
Okay. So I will not say it is levied, but okay. So the tax is finally, firstly, okay, chalo, you complete, then I'll give my answer. So you are saying it is levied where the goods are consumed. Good, that is correct. I'll make slide beautifications in this answer, but it is correct in principle. Fine. Anybody else? Anubhav says it is determined by end use, means where goods services are consumed. So Harsh, I'm asking the same question, beta. What is this destination-based consumption tax means? Where it is being consumed. Okay, Krishna. Julie says final burden borne by consumer. Yes, very correct, Julie. GST will ultimately be borne. Perfect. Kabyajit. Yes, Gayatri, you can attend from now. No worries, don't worry. That is not a problem. You can attend from now. Riddhiben, taxes paid by the last person where goods are consumed. Okay, so you mean to say the total tax burden is on the last person. Perfect, Riddhiben. GST is a single tax on goods service paid by final consumer. Okay, Gopal. Where the good consumes, Sashi, where supplies consume, Harsh. Okay, perfect. Fine. So we say GST is a destination-based consumption tax. Now, two interesting words are used together, destination and consumption. One, the meaning of consumption-based tax means, as rightly pointed out by y'all, that the total tax burden. Now, this is interesting. The total tax burden is on the final consumer. I'll explain how. Please pay attention. I'm the manufacturer. I sell it to Krishna for 100 by charging let us say 20 rupees GST. For the time being, will not get into the technicalities C, S or the actual rate. So for simplicity, 20 rupees. I am in Maharashtra. Let us say Krishna is in Gujarat. So I charge GST of 20 rupees. I collect it and I pay. But whatever GST I am charging and collecting from Krishna, that is 20 rupees. Krishna today is paying me 120, but this 20 rupees is not his expense or cost. He is further selling this for rupees 150 to Shamli. Let us say Shamli is in Delhi. Now, on this 150, let us say Krishna is charging 30 rupees as GST. Now, interestingly, Krishna does not have to pay 30 rupees to the government because he has already paid 20 rupees to me when he was purchasing the goods or service from me. This 20 rupees will be or is kept with him called as input tax credit, which he can subtract, which he can set off. Now, since you are income tax students, you all know the meaning of the word set off. That is for losses over there. Here it is for the input tax. So this 20 rupees, he will set off, he will subtract. Just a minute. Sorry, I had call from indirect tax committee, so I had to attend. Fine. So I come back to the point. So Krishna sold the goods to Shamli Goods or Service at 150 and charging 30 rupees as GST and collected this 30 rupees, but Krishna does not have to pay to the government. What he will do, from this 30, he will subtract the 20 which he has already paid to me. This 20 which he has paid was on his purchase side, so it is called as his input tax, right? So understand the terminology because it is the next chapter after this, I suppose. So this tax which he has paid to me on his purchase side, on his input side is called as the input tax. For me, it was output tax. For him, it is the input tax. And since he is able to adjust it from his further taxes, it is called as input tax credit. Credit means benefit, right? In accounts, we say credit all incomes and benefits. So since this 20 rupees, whatever he's paying to me is his benefit because tomorrow it will go to reduce his liability. Hence, we call it as input tax credit. That is one of the reasons. Other things we'll study in input tax credit chapter. Now, when he sold to Shamli, Shamli paid him 30 rupees, which is the total tax on entire value of 150. He deducted that 20, which is called as set off. So he set off that 20 rupees input tax from his output tax of 30. So he paid only 10 rupees tax to the government. Now, interestingly, GST is also VAT, that is value added tax. So you'll understand it from this example. So we are also understanding the destination and consumption concept, plus we are also understanding ITC, VAT. All concepts will be covered in this example. Just pay attention because I'm not writing anything on the screen. I want you all to be attentive. The more you are able to visualize things, remember one thing, students, visualization has a far-reaching impact on memory. What you read will be there with you for a lesser time. What you listen will be there for a very lesser time. But what you visualize in your minds, that will be there for a very long time. So try to have the image memory. Whatever you are able to draw in your mind, right, wrong is not important. Whatever I'm saying, just try to visualize as if I'm writing on the board. I can very well easily do it right now. I'm purposefully not doing. I want to create I want to ignite your image memory. So pay attention. Now, Shamli has paid tax on entire 150, but Krishna paid only 10 rupees to the government. Why? Because Krishna purchased the goods of 100 from me. The tax on 100, that is 20 rupees, was already paid by me to government. Krishna added 50 rupees on this 100 and made it of 150. So his value addition in this entire transaction on the goods and service is of rupees 50. So he collected tax on 150, deducted tax on 100 and paid tax of 10, which is his tax on the 50 rupees, which is his value addition. That is why GST is also called as a value addition tax. Correct? Now, Shamli sold these goods further to Medha for rupees 250. Now, when Shamli is selling for rupees 250, she is charging rupees 50 as GST, which is again the total tax on 250. But she does not have to pay 250 to the government again. Why? Because she has already paid 30 rupees to Krishna on the previous purchase at rupees 150. So she received the good service at 150. She added her 100 rupees. 100 rupees would be added for multiple things. Maybe she would have done some manufacturing, some further processing. She would have done some work plus her profit margin. So she added 100 rupees on that. So she further sold it to Medha for 250. And on that 250, she charged 50 rupees as GST. She collected from Medha. She did not pay the 50 to government again. She deducted the 30 rupees, which is already paid to Krishna by her. And she only paid 20 rupees to government, which is again the tax on her value addition of 100. And then let us say, finally, Medha sold these goods or services finally to Anil. And finally, Medha sold it for, let us say, 400 rupees. So Medha has added her 150 rupees as value addition. Now, when she is selling for 400, now she is going to charge tax of 80. This 80 is her output tax. And this she is collecting from Anil. And let us say Anil is the final end user of this particular transaction. This 80 again she is collecting, but she is not paying entire 80. She is deducting the 50 rupees which she has paid to Medha, to Shamli, and Medha will be only paying the difference rupees 30, which is again the tax on her value addition of 150. Now, interestingly, in this whole transaction, what is happening? When in the first transaction you are a purchaser, immediately in the second transaction you become the seller. As purchaser, whatever GST you have paid, that is your input tax, which becomes your credit if you satisfy the conditions, which you will study in the next chapter. And once it is your credit, you are able to adjust it, set it off from your output tax. So eventually you end up paying tax only on your value addition. Interestingly also, there is no tax burden on you because what you had paid originally, pay attention, you collected it when you sold the goods. So what Krishna paid to me 20, when he collected rupees 30 from Shamli, he kept that 20 rupees in his pocket. We say set off. Set off means what? He adjusted that 20 and he paid only 10 rupees difference to the government. So what he did of 20, he kept that in his pockets because originally he had paid that 20 to me. So effectively, nobody in the chain bears the duty burden. Nobody in the chain is having the duty impact. It is entirely on the last person in the chain who is the final end user consumer. And if you observe, Anil paid the tax on entire value of 400. So ultimately the total tax of entire value of 400, which included my 100, then 50 of Krishna, then 100 of Shamli and 150 of Medha. The total of this is 400. The entire 400 rupees tax is paid and borne by Anil, who is the end user, who is the consumer. That is why GST becomes a consumption tax. It is also a value addition tax because at every stage, the person, whoever is adding the value, he or she is paying tax only to the extent of the value added. Correct? Now comes the most interesting part. we say it is a destination-based consumption tax. So consumption tax, we understood it is paid by consumer, borne by consumer. Entire tax is paid by the last person. Now, interestingly, acha, who is consumer is also important to understand, but that I'm not getting into right now. I am more on the destination part. Now, what is this destination tax? So here, basically, destination is aimed at identifying, now pay attention, which state government will get the tax. So the purpose of this word destination is to identify which state government will get the tax. Now you'll say, sir, why so important to identify this? So starting with my example again, I'm from Maharashtra. I sold to Krishna, who is from Gujarat. Krishna sold to Shamli, who is from Delhi. Shamli sold to Medha. Let us say, for the time being, I'm saying Medha is from Rajasthan. And Medha sold it to Anil. Let us say Anil is from Karnataka. Now, in this case, as the tax burden is shifting to the consumer, it is a destination tax. But at the same time, in the tax, we always have two components, the central government's component and the state government's component. Either it is charged as CNS separately or it is charged as IGST total. But you also know that in IGST, half is of center, half is of state. Now, the question is, which state government will get the tax? That is what is the destination concept. Now, just interesting point. Before GST, we had the old tax laws where we had the state VAT, which was the sales tax, later on called as VAT. State VATs were designed on origin-based concept. So taxes are on two bases, origin-based and destination-based. What is origin-based? In our old taxes, that is before GST, that is in the VAT era, the revenue, the tax revenue was given to the state who is the seller state or who is the origination state. That is the state from where the goods originate. That is why it was origin-based tax. But GST is a destination-based tax, which means the tax revenue will go to the state who is the destination state or who is the buyer state. So why we call GST as a destination? It means that the tax revenue should go to the end state and not to the starting state. If it will go to the starting state, GST will be called as origin-based tax, but it is not so. That was earlier VAT. GST is a destination-based tax because the tax revenue goes to the destination state or the buyer state or the consumer state. That is why both terms are used. GST is a destination-based consumption tax. Yes, Medha. So that is why it is called as indirect tax, because in indirect tax, the burden is shifted. Yes, correct. The later charges from, that's why we call indirect tax. Correct. See, Anil, there is no difference between VAT and GST. VAT, okay, so I should not say there is no difference. There is a difference. See, VAT was the earlier tax. It was a tax on sales. In fact, it was sales tax renamed as VAT. And GST is a tax which covers everything, the sales tax also, the excise also, the service tax also. So, Anil, you can say that is the difference. Right? Achha, I hope the states which I have assumed for everyone, which I have allotted to y'all, is correct. Huh? So, I presume somebody is from Delhi, somebody is from Kolkata, somebody is from Karnataka. I hope my assumptions are correct. Yes, Anubhav says appropriation of tax to be given to the state where consumption takes place. Is VAT was origin-based? Yes, I already mentioned, Anubhav, VAT was origin-based tax. So the tax was given to the seller state. So if Maharashtra is selling to Gujarat, Maharashtra was getting the tax under VAT. That is origin-based. But now GST is a destination-based tax. So Gujarat will be getting the tax. Yes, Prajyot, correct. Oh, Krishna, great. Aditya, GST is available in ITC. Aditya, I did not get this point. Destination-based tax is levied at the point where goods or services are consumed or destination of the goods rather than where they are produced. Correct. So, Abhinav, that is what is the point. In destination, the state where the goods are consumed will get the revenue and not where the goods are produced. Correct, Abhinav. Shashi says after IGST paid, then SGST comes to that state. So yes, you first pay IGST, the entire amount goes to the central government, the total amount. Then the central government makes it half, keep the half it itself, and the balance half, it finds out which is the destination states and give the half to the destination state. Yes, Lingar, VAT had cascading effect, and that is why it was not good. So we had to change it to GST to remove the cascading effect. Sir, value added tax means at each stage of supply chain, tax is charged only on the value added, not on total sale price. See, Arun Sagar, what happens is the effect is VAT, but we are charging tax on total sale price. In my example, everybody was charging tax on his total sale price, but he was not paying that tax to the government. He was only charging tax to the on the total sale price. But what he was or she was doing, he or she was deducting the tax which he or she paid on the purchase side. So effectively, what tax he was giving to the government was the value addition tax. But the tax everybody was calculating was on the entire sale price. So students, in this one example, I tried to cover the concept of consumption. I tried to cover the concept of ITC and also the concept of destination and also the concept of VAT. So all the four major principles or concepts of GST I tried to cover in this one single example. I hope it is clear to everyone now. Try to link it with whatever you have studied till now so that now things will also fall in place. Anybody wants to ask something? Anybody has any special inputs? You may put it in chat box. If you want me to unmute, I'll unmute. So Anil, give me an example of this. Let it be more practical. You give me an example, I'll give you the answer. Group link, sir. What is this, Ishwarya? What is this group link? Good. Is there depreciation for ITC? Wow. See, ITC is a tax which you have paid on the input side. So technically there can be no depreciation. But yes, whenever you pay GST on capital goods, you use it for some time and then you sell it after using it for 2-3 years. Then whatever input tax you had paid on these capital goods, entire amount is not to be reversed or paid. There is some amount which you can keep back with you. That is where you can say there is depreciation in ITC. But that is only with respect to capital goods. Yes, Anubhav, don't worry. You are in the process. You will be, definitely. Sir, I did not understand by distinction state. Not distinction, but a destination. So the state government, see, there are two persons, supplier, buyer. And let us say both belong to two different states. So there will be two states, one the buyer state and one the seller state, or the supplier state and the destination state. It is not distinction, it is destination. Medha, you have shared some. Achha, so I think that is a group link somebody was asking for. So Ishwarya, Medha has shared the group link. Wow, Anubhav has also shared. Great. Can we take ITC like TDS if no set off? Gayatri, see, it is, you can say, see, you can compare it with TDS, but there is a difference. Basically, ITC is the tax which you have paid on the input side. It is not a tax which is deducted by someone. So you have paid it. It is like, you can say, if you want to compare, it is more like a TCS, not TDS. Secondly, this tax you will be able to use for paying your output tax. So whatever is the tax on your output, you may not pay the entire tax because whatever you have paid on the input, that will be subtracted. So to that extent, it is setting off. Hence, I will say it is not exactly like TDS. But let me tell you, TDS is also adjusted. So even though we do not use the word set off for TDS, but TDS is also ultimately adjusted from your total tax. So effectively, that is what we do for input tax also. It will reduce your output tax. Same thing is when you compute your total income and total tax, from that you will deduct TDS. So to that extent, you will not pay the total income tax. So even TDS is set off from your total income tax. Bida. Correct? Chalo. Now, We discussed so much about VAT, about consumption, destination, ITC, but our topic is something different. Now, if the topic is different, why did we study the other concepts? We studied the concepts because GST or any subject is to be studied in a flow, in a link, and also you should try to connect a link so that when you read something new, you understand the other part. And second most important thing is because whatever we discussed just now is what is also this chapter. Now, we said that GST is a destination-based consumption tax. Consumption means the consumer who is consuming has to bear the burden, and destination means the destination state will get the revenue. Now, there is a supplier state and there is a buyer state. The buyer state is the destination state, but it is not so easy. This is because physically seeing the destination state or physically seeing where the destination of your supply is at times very, very difficult. I'll give you an example to explain you what it is. I am traveling by flight. My flight is from Mumbai to Kanyakumari. From Mumbai, it is going to Hyderabad, Karnataka, and then finally it is reaching Kanyakumari. Now, in this whole journey, I am crossing 3-4 states before I reach the final destination. While I am in flight, I order tea. I consume it. Again, after some time, I order tea along with cashew nuts. I consume it. And before I get down, I again buy, let us say, a packet of roasted almonds. Now, these three things I purchased, I consumed. But where? I'm the consumer, I have to pay tax, consumption tax satisfied. Supplier is the airlines, okay. Question is destination. Where? Which state is destination? Understand this. Many times it is practically impossible or it is practically difficult to identify the correct state, which is the destination state. And this is where the concept of place of supply comes in. No, Kuldeep beta, where invoice is prepared? Invoice is prepared by the supplier. So it is the supplier state. We don't want the supplier state. We want the recipient or the destination state beta. So if you say where invoice is prepared, that will not be fully correct beta. Right? Now, so students understand this. In reality, many times it is easy to find destination, but there are some special cases where finding destination, which is the state, I already explained what is consumption based, what is destination based. So I explained that consumption based means the consumer has to pay tax, and destination based means the tax will be going to the state where the destination of the supply is, right? Now, in this particular case, so yes, light issue, but Anil, don't worry. Even if I'm not visible, my voice is coming to you. We have to be connected by hearts, not only by sound. Fine. So pay attention. We have a light problem here. So lights are off, but still, don't worry. So what I'm trying to explain, please pay attention. So the point is that many times Finding out the physical destination, getting the physical destination is not possible. That is where the law smartly, instead of using the word destination of supply, they use the word place of supply. So what is place of supply? Place of supply is the destination state. And why this destination state is required? One, as I said, how will I come to know which state should get the revenue from this GST? So the S portion on this GST has to go to some state. And as per the logic, as per the law, it should be the destination state. But which state is the destination state? That will be identified by this chapter, which is place of supply. So place of supply. Anil, beta, please wait. I will go through your example. Maybe what I'll explain will cover your example. Just be patient. So the place of supply chapter basically helps you identify which is the destination state. Now, how it is helpful in GST law? One, it will help the government to identify which state government will get the revenue, the S portion. Two, when you have to decide whether your transaction is interstate supply or intrastate supply, it is dependent on two things. One is the location of supplier and the destination, that is the place of supply. If both are same state, you will call it as intrastate, you will charge C plus S on the invoice. But if supplier state is Maharashtra and the place of supply, that is the destination state, is Gujarat, you will charge IGST and it will be called as an interstate supply. Hence, to identify what is the correct nature of transaction, interstate or intrastate, and who is the state government which will get the credit, we have the concept of destination. But since destination may be slightly tricky, maybe at times not possible to identify, they have replaced the word destination with place of supply. So firstly, what is place of supply? Place of supply is the destination state of that transaction. Is this fine? Okay, let me make some arrangement for light. Fine, students. So this is the backdrop of this entire chapter, place of supply, which means the destination state, correct? And it may not be the physical state or the physical endpoint of supply, because as I said many times, it is difficult to identify physically where the supply is ending. That is why this place of supply, which is the destination state, is an artificial concept, which means that when you are studying this provision, don't be misled by the physical end of the transaction, because you may feel that the physical end of transaction is state of Maharashtra, but the law will say, no, it is state of Gujarat. So we will have to accept it as state of Gujarat. So place of supply, in 70% cases, it will match with the actual destination. But in 30% cases, it may be something different, correct? Now, interestingly, importantly, whatever you have been studying till now in all the topics, they were all from the CGST Act. But this whole chapter is from the IGST Act. So in this place of supply chapter, what we will be studying is nothing from the CGST Act. Everything is from the IGST Act. It is chapter 5 of the IGST Act. Now, we have to determine place of supply of goods, because you have two types of supply of goods, supply of service. So everything has to be decided for both. Time of supply, I'm sure you have studied by now. Value of supply, place of supply. All these three things you have to decide for goods, for service. Now, importantly, transactions can be of two types: domestic transaction and international transaction. What is domestic transaction? Transaction happening within India. International transaction, transaction happening between two countries. Obviously, one is India, one is outside. Now, as ma'am informed, two sections are not applicable, section 11, section 13. But let me inform you what they are so that at least you will know what you don't know. My teacher used to tell me, you should know what you know, but more importantly, you should know what you don't know. So if you are not studying section 11, if you're not studying section 13, at least you should know what you are not studying. Correct? Now, supply of goods, there are two sections, 10, 11. Supply of service, there are two sections, 12, 13. What is the difference? Supply of goods, section 10, dealing with place of supply for domestic transactions. Section 11, dealing with place of supply for international transaction, that is import of goods, export of goods. Similarly, in case of services, section 12, dealing with domestic transaction of services where the supplier and recipient both are from India. And section 13, which we are not going to study, is dealing with international transaction of services where the supplier, the recipient, one of them is from India, one of them is from outside India. So there are four sections defining place of supply, two for goods, two for services, and in both, one is for domestic, one is for international. So what you are not going to study is the international transaction of goods, that is import-export under section 11, and similarly, international transaction of service, that is where either the supplier or the recipient is outside India. Is this clear, students, what you will not know in this chapter? Students, respond. Any questions with anyone? Any doubts? Anything you want to share? Okay, Anil is asking why CGST has ignored POS. CGST is not ignored anything. Everything is given in IGST because this is what the Constitution has said. Constitution has said that the place of supply principles will be decided only by the central parliament. Now, if it has to be decided by the central parliament, then if I make something in CGST, you have to parallelly make the same thing in SGST. As we all know, CGST, SGST provisions are parallel. Now the point is, Parliament has given this power exclusively to central parliament. Constitution has given this power. Hence, IGST is the only act which is exclusively by central and not, there will be nothing parallel to of state. That is why you will not find any of the place of supply provisions in CGST, because whatever you make in CGST, you have to also make in SGST, which is not allowed by the Constitution. Fine? Understood, beta? Good. Now, at the start, even our module is giving you examples of different type of supply of goods and service. And then, while determining the place of supply, these different things may be considered. But let us first understand the place of supply so that you'll understand all these things what are being discussed. So instead of me going through this part, let me go through the place of supply provisions, and then wherever required, we'll come back to these definitions. Wherever required, will at the end, when you read the starting part, you'll understand it more better. Now, we start with today's supply of goods. So again, what is place of supply? Place of supply is the destination state. What will be destination state for domestic transactions? What is domestic transactions? Transaction other than import and export. This is defined in section 10. Import-export place of supply is defined in section 11. Now, In section 10, you have subsection 1, subsection 2. I'll read subsection 2. Acha, chalo. Can anybody help me in reading? Would anybody like to read for me? Okay, so many options. Okay, I'll first. Where is Anil? He had raised his hand first. Okay, he's missing now. So I'll first give chance to Vedant.
Good evening.
Yes, Vedant. Just read subsection 2 for me.
Yes, sir. Where the place of supply of goods cannot be determined, the place of supply shall be determined in such manner as they may be prescribed.
So what it means? They have given you different scenarios in subsection 1. You have total 6 scenarios by way of these 6 clauses A,
Yes,
B, C, CA, D, and E. But then subsection 2 is acting as a residuary provision. We call it as the residuary. Residuary means, which is if other above provisions fail, if they do not help you, so you should have a residuary provision. So what does this residuary provision says? That if there is any place, if there is any transaction which is not fitting in the above 6 cases, the place of supply of those transactions will be determined in a manner that will be prescribed. Prescribed means by making rules. So whenever they are saying prescribed, it means that will be by way of making rules, right? Now,
Okay,
out
sir.
of this 6 scenarios, we will first deal with D and E. Correct? They are simple ones, and we will keep on removing the specific ones. So this D, E are specific ones. Once we remove the specific ones, what will be left will be the general transactions. So yes, beta. Can you read
Yes.
the place of supply? Acha, we'll first read subsection 1. What it says. Read from here. What does section 10 subsection 1 says?
The place of supply of goods other than the supply of imported into or exported from India shall be under.
So what it is saying, subsection 1 says, except for import and export, the place of supply will be as under. Now read clause B.
Where the goods are assembled or installed at site, the place of supply shall be place of such installation or assembly.
Now, this point is very simple and straightforward. Now I'm sure you all will be able to understand this, and even this matches with the physical destination. I'll give you a few examples. I am a seller, a supplier of AC, air conditioning systems. My business is in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. So I'm a dealer from Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Now, Harsh contacts me. He says, sir, I want these ACs to be installed in my office, which is in Jaipur. So I take one order from Harsh for installing 10 ACs in his office in Jaipur. Similarly, another person, Miss Sandhya, she also contacts me. She says, sir, I want these ACs to be installed in my office, and my office is in Hyderabad. So she wants 20 ACs to be installed in her office. So I take that order also. And then I have Miss Shraddha, let us say from Mumbai. She says, sir, I want 15 ACs and these have to be installed in my office in Mumbai. Now I have these 3 orders. For these 3 orders, the location of supplier will be same, which is my address, which is Jodhpur, Rajasthan. But the place of supply will be what? Now, in this contract of providing this ACs, the contract is that I have to install these ACs at the respective offices. So, what is my contract requiring? That the goods have to be installed at the site. We all understand the meaning of installation. So AC, simply if I bring the AC unit and keep it in your house or in your office, that is not sufficient. It will not work. It has to be properly installed on the wall or at the respective place. I have to do the piping work. I have to do the wiring. I have to keep the outer unit of the AC in some proper duct or some balcony area, and I have to do the proper wiring piping so that this AC becomes workable. This is what is called as installation. Now, this supply will be falling in clause D, and the place of supply, that is the destination, will be decided by clause D, which will be simply Jaipur, which will be Hyderabad, and which will be Maharashtra. So depending upon each of my supplies to each of the persons, there would be different places of supply. So for my first supply, the place of supply is Jaipur, Rajasthan. I am also from Rajasthan. The place of supply is also Rajasthan. My transaction will be intrastate. I will be charging CGST plus RGST. RGST means Rajasthan State GST, because it is intrastate. But for the other two transactions, where the place of supply is Hyderabad and the place of supply is Mumbai, Maharashtra, I would be charging IGST, and I would be writing place of supply is Hyderabad and place of supply is Maharashtra. And the tax which I would be charging is IGST. So this is what is place of supply as per clause D for the scenario that goods are installed. I'll give you another example of this where the goods are to be assembled. Let us say I am an online furniture seller. Nowadays, many things are available online and people are buying many things online. My business place is in Bhiwandi, which is nearby Mumbai, and it is in Bhiwandi, Maharashtra, because it is near Mumbai. Now, this furniture, I get order from many of y'all. Y'all see the entire furniture demo video, which is there on my app, which is on my website. All the specifications are also given. Even if you want something slightly modified as per your office space and office size, you can tell me and I modify it accordingly. So you select different office tables, office chairs, and different things, and you place order. So I am having my place of business in Bhiwandi, which is falling near Mumbai, that is Maharashtra. So location of supplier is Maharashtra. Now, my first order is from Naushin. Naushin is, let us say, in Madhya Pradesh. So from there, she has placed order for certain furniture items. Then my second order is coming from Ria. Let us say Ria is in Pune. My third order is coming from Sony, and this is coming from, let us say, Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir. So I'm again having these three orders where my first transaction, the place of supply is the place where I will be assembling this. Now, what is assembly? Now, if you order a furniture item, like let us say you have ordered a double bed along with the side table, or you have ordered an almirah, cupboard, or you have ordered the whole sofa, or if you have ordered a proper kitchen set with the dining table, or you have ordered a proper office table which is of huge length along with the side tables and storage. Now, all these things, when they have to be sent to you, and whenever you are placing order online, if you have placed any of these furniture items online, you will find that they will come not as a whole furniture unit. They will come in pieces and parts, which is called as the SKD or CKD form. SKD is semi-knockdown form. CKD is complete knockdown form. So when you order any of these things online, in fact, if you go to these online apps, they also have a demo video of how you have to install it. Install means how you have to fit it to make it the furniture. But many times if the furniture is huge and slightly technical or complicated, it may not be possible for you to fix it, to assemble it. So I'm even providing that service. So when I'm going to deliver this furniture, the furniture delivery is coming with the assembly also. That is, I have sent you this in pieces, CKD or SKD form, and that is to be done for ease of transport. Otherwise, such huge bed or table cannot be transported, the transport cost will be huge and handling would be also difficult. So I make it into small parts and I send the parts, and I will send my technician who will come to your place to assemble it and make it a proper furniture. So again, this will fall in clause D, where the goods are to be assembled at site, and again the place of supply will be these respective places. The place of supply would be Pune, Maharashtra, where I'll be charging C plus S, where the S will be Maharashtra S, or the place of supply would be Jammu Kashmir, where I will be charging CGST plus Jammu Kashmir's SGST. But since it is interstate, I will not charge C plus S, I will charge IGST directly. And similarly, the third place of supply, where the place of supply will be the place I am going to assemble. And again, I will be charging IGST, that is Madhya Pradesh. So in all these three cases, the place of supply as per clause D will be the place of assembly. I hope everybody understood clause D, right? So Harsh, now I'm unmuting you so that we can go to the next clause with your help. So I hope everybody firstly understood both these scenarios which are covered in this clause, right? Now, Harsh, read for me clause E. Again, this is a very interesting and special case scenario.
Where the goods are supplied on board a conveyance, including a vessel, an aircraft, a train, or a motor vehicle, the place of supply shall be the location at which such goods are taken on board.
Very interesting. Now, firstly, we'll have to understand 2-3 things. So this is what I have highlighted is the place of supply. But before I go to that place of supply, the first thing is we have to understand what is covered in this. So Harsh, can you tell me what transaction will be covered in this? Can you give me real life examples of this?
Sir, via train, like transport some goods to one state, from one state to another state.
So you are transporting goods from one state to another?
Yes, sir, via train or motor vehicle.
No, that is not covered, beta. That is not covered here. Firstly, if you are transporting goods from train or motor vehicle, is it supply of goods or supply of service?
Yes.
Yes. Is it supply of goods or supply of service? Let us first start from here. Others may answer in chat box. This example of Harsh, whether it is supply of goods or supply of service?
Service, sir.
And if it is service, then we'll not see section 10. We'll see which section, beta? We will see section 12, which is for place of supply of services, correct? But when we are seeing section 10, it is only when the place of supplies of goods, correct? So, anybody would like to explain what will be covered in clause E? You may raise your hand. Whoever wants to explain, I'll unmute you. What will be covered? Okay. Anubhav has said something. Okay, Jaya. Fine, good. So are they consumed or are they purchased? Yes. Anybody would like to give a real life example? See, you should take real life example because only then it will be easy for anybody to understand. And I will be able to understand whether you are getting the clear meaning. No, Kervi, that is not correct. Loading is not covered here because again, loading is a service. No, Afia, it does not mean goods used for the transport. Yes. Anybody would like to give me example? Okay, Vedant, but then whether it is supply of goods or supply of service? Jaya, whether this is supply of goods or supply of service? So now I'm getting the right answers, that you are purchasing something when you are traveling. Now understand this. I am traveling from Mumbai to, let us say, Kashmir, Srinagar, via train or via plane. Let us say, take example of plane. I already took this example, only the place was different. So now my point is, what is covered in clause E? Now, while I am in the train or while I am on the plane, I order tea. Is this covered in clause E? I am ordering tea. Is it covered in clause E? You can simply say Y for yes, N for no. Mustafa, this is not covered, what you are saying. Goods supplied through Flipkart is not covered in this. Medha. Okay, I'll take Medha's example. She is saying, I buy a snack. Whether buying snack is covered here. Now, interestingly, firstly, one thing is covered for sure, that is, while I am in journey, whatever I am buying, while I am in journey and I am buying it on board, this is very important. On board means while I am in the train, I am in the plane. Whatever I am buying, that is what is covered, that is correct. But the most interesting thing to be answered is, firstly, to be checked is rather, whether it is supply of goods or supply of service. So if I order a tea, let us say I'm in flight, I order a tea and the tea is served to me, or I order upma, upma is served to me. That is supply of service. And once it is supply of service, it cannot fall in section 10 because section 10 is exclusively for supply of goods. So before you decide or you take clause E for your answer, you have to first decide whether it is supply of goods, supply of service. Now, we have to take only those transactions in clause E which will be supply of goods. Now here schedule 2 is very important, which you would have studied earlier. Whenever any food is served to you, so you are buying food, but that food is served to you, it becomes supply of service as per schedule 2. And once it is supply of service, it will not come in this section, that you will study separately when you will study section 12. So supply of service where tea or any of these food items is served will not be covered. Yes, Jaya. Now what will be covered is, I buy a packaged item. Like I buy a packaged this roasted almonds packet or the box, the nut case box, or I buy a biscuit or a wafer packet or a wafer or a biscuit sachet, whatever you call it, or I buy the juice which is coming in that packaged bottle, the Tetra Pak, let us say of boat. Now these things are example of supply of goods. So whatever is packaged, if I am buying that, that is what is supply of goods, and I am buying it while I am in journey. It is not served to me, it is given to me in a packaged form. Yes, Medha. That is what is covered over here. If I am buying something which is served to me, Anubhav beta, again this parcel is a very tricky word. So as I said, it is given to you as a packet. You can simply keep it. You may consume it after 2 days, 5 days, it is okay. That is what is packaged. But something which is served to you, which you consume there because it is hot, it is prepared, after some time it may not be usable, that is what is served. That is what will be covered in service. That will not be covered here. Correct? Anil beta, please have patience, because if I take your example in between, it may create some confusion with students, right? So let me come to a proper point, then I will take your example definitely, right? Or maybe in the process, you'll get your example. If not, I'll answer it later. You post it to me again in the next class if it is not covered today, right? Now, the point over here, students, to be understood is firstly what is covered in clause E. So, first thing, you are on board some conveyance. So, you are traveling by a train, by a plane, by a vehicle, or by ship. And while you are on board that conveyance, while you are still in the travel, you are purchasing that article, which is goods, which is in packaged form, which is not served to you. Like juice, if it is given in glass, it becomes supply of service. But if it is given in the Tetra Pak or the packed bottle without cooling it, it is given as it is, then it is supply of goods. See, that is the difference. The moment they chill it and give it to you, it becomes supply of service. So where it is given to you in a consumable form, that you have to consume it that time, otherwise you will not be able to enjoy it, then it is supply of service. But where it is given to you in such a form that you can consume it now, tomorrow, day after, then it is generally in packaged form, it is supply of goods. Understand this. Now, once you have understood what will be covered, now what is interesting to notice, what will be the place of supply? The place of supply shall be the location at which such goods are taken on board. Now, the example which I'll give you, please pay attention because it is going to be interesting. So let us say I am taking the flight from Mumbai to Srinagar. Now, since it is a very long journey, the flight would be first going to Delhi. There will be some layover, stopover, where some people will get down from my flight. Some people would be getting into the flight. And then from there, the flight will go to Srinagar. So this is how the flight will be. Now, interestingly, all these items which has to be sold while the flight is in journey, while we are in the air, all these have to be first loaded on the flight. This is what is goods are taken on board. Now, interestingly, what are the possibilities? These nut case, the cashew nut or the roasted almond box, all these things, first possibility, are boarded on the plane at the Mumbai port. Second possibility, they will be boarded on the plane when the plane is having a layover at Delhi port. Third possibility, this plane, which is now going from Mumbai to Srinagar, has originally come from Chennai to Mumbai. So this flight, not train flight, this flight was firstly Chennai to Mumbai flight. There, the passengers got down and passengers like me onboarded. The third possibility, these nutcase items or these items which are goods were taken on this flight at the Chennai port. So they have been taken at some earlier port, they have been taken at Mumbai port, or they will be taken when the flight will be having the layover or break at the Delhi port. Now, please understand this. Whatever provisions over here are made, they are made because practically it is impossible to find out which is your actual destination state. Because where exactly I'm going to buy these goods, where I will be consuming these goods is not possible to be identified. Because when you are traveling, where the train exactly is, where the plane exactly is, many times difficult and impossible to identify and also impossible to keep a record. So for the purpose of ease of maintaining the records, understand this. See, transaction is happening today, but you have to pay GST in the next month. And the officer may come after 2 years to check this transaction, whether right or wrong. So after 2 years, how will the officer have proof of this transaction? So even if you take the precise location where the flight is at the time when you purchase, after 2 years when the officer is coming for checking, how will the officer actually check and verify the correctness? So you have to also keep this in mind when you're reading these place of supply provisions. So They have to identify such places as place of supply, which tomorrow can also be checked and verified in future whenever the officer is coming for checking your calculations. So keeping that in mind, for this transaction, they have decided that the place of supply will not be the actual place when I buy these goods, because that is impossible to identify and it is impossible to keep a record. Instead, what can be easily identified and record will be kept always is where these goods were loaded on the plane. And it can be very well recorded. Rather, it is recorded for all their internal accounting purposes, security purposes. They keep a record of what goods were loaded on the plane. And if something has been consumed during the flight and it requires to be reloaded, in the next airport when the flight will be reaching, they will inform them so that goods will be replenished or reloaded over there. So it is very easy to keep a record of this as to where these goods are loaded. Yes, Shraddha, you are right. So that is what will be the place of supply. So let us say if some of these nut pack cases were onboarded at the Chennai port, and later on I consumed it towards the last part of the flight, still the place of supply will be Chennai, where these goods were onboarded the plane. Second, let us say the juice Tetra packs were onboarded at Mumbai. Even I purchase it anytime later, the place of supply will be Mumbai. And let us say some wafer packets were onboarded on this flight when the flight was laying over at Delhi. I purchased, so let us say all these three things I purchased towards the end when the flight was already over Jammu and Kashmir. But for all these three things, which I purchased when the flight was already over Jammu and Kashmir, the place of supply will be different. For the nut cases, the place of supply is Chennai, where they were onboarded the plane. For Tetra Pak juices, it is Mumbai, where they were onboarded. And for wafers, it is Delhi, where they were onboarded. So even though I purchased all the things when the flight was over Jammu and Kashmir, still for all the three things, the place of supply will be three different places. That is the place where these goods were onboarded. Is this clear to all? Any questions? Any doubts? Yes, students? I hope it is clear. Great. Now we go to next clause, that is CA. Right? Whom should I unmute? Okay, Krishna, I'm unmuting you.
Clause CA, where the supply of goods is made to a person other than registered person, the place of supply shall notwithstanding anything contrary contained in the clause A or clause C, be the location as per the address of the said person recorded in the invoice issued in respect of the said supply, and the location of the supplier where the address of the said person not recorded in the invoice. Explanation: for the purpose of this clause, recording the name of the state of the said person in the invoice shall be deemed to be the recording of address of the said person.
Great. Now, for this, let us again take real life examples. Firstly, this transaction or this clause is covering which transaction? We call it as OTC, sale. OTC, sale. Full form is over the counter sale. Again, it is a day-to-day life situation. You go to a shopkeeper, let us say you want to buy pen, you want to buy certain scrubbers, you want to buy a compass box. All these things you need for your day-to-day studies. So you go to a stationery shop. Over there, you select the pen brand, whatever you want. You select the scrubber, whatever you want, and you select the compass box. He makes a bill of rupees 200. You pay 200 to him. Now, for such transactions, this clause CA has been introduced. So first understand what this CA is covering. Again, it is supply of goods. So restaurant services and all are not covered. So when you go and have food in restaurant, clause CA is not applicable. Though Otherwise, all things are same in clause CA, what happens in restaurant. But since this entire section 10 is for supply of goods, restaurant will not be covered. But what is covered? So you go to a shop to buy stationery. You go to a mall, you buy different items, like you buy wearing apparels, you buy footwear, you buy perfumes, you buy even electronic gadgets. All these examples, what is actually you are buying day in, day out, all your purchases are clause CA. So from a shop or from a mall, or the third scenario is online. So whatever you are buying is clause CA. Why? Because the supply of goods is made to whom? To a person other than registered. So none of you are a registered person. All these purchases that you are making are in your personal capacity as an individual, not as a business. And none of you are having a GST registration. Then whatever purchases you make from a shop, from a mall, or from online platforms, all are covered in this clause. Now, importantly, what is the place of supply? It will be your address as recorded in the invoice. That's it. It will be your address recorded in the invoice. Now, interestingly, coming back to my example 1, when you are going to a shop, or example number 2, when you are going to a mall, do you remember any time the shopkeeper or the mall shopkeeper has asked you for your address? The answer is no. Except where, I'll give you exception, except where you buy an electronic gadget where there is a warranty card and they prepare a proper invoice which will be required by you. So you are buying a mobile phone or you are buying a laptop. In that particular case, they will ask you your address because they have to prepare a proper invoice and give you the warranty card. And for the purpose of that warranty card, all these informations are compulsory. So for shop and for mall purchases, generally your address is not asked. If your address is not asked, then this first part of this clause will not apply. So your address is now not the place of supply. In such case, where your address is not available, then the place of supply will be the location of supplier. It means the shopkeeper's address itself. So shopkeeper's address is already the location of supplier, and the same location of supplier becomes the place of supply, where the address of the said person is you, that is the buyer, is not recorded in the invoice. So where buyer's address is not there in the invoice, the place of supply will be the shopkeeper's address. So by default, on all his sales, he or she will be charging C plus S. Correct? No, but it may not always be individual to individual. Purchaser is individual. Seller may be anyone, individual, partnership firm, company, because seller is a business. Buyer is a non-business. Buyer is a individual or personal entity. Correct? Coming back. So the point is, there are two provisions of place of supply here, depending upon whether the buyer's address is recorded on the invoice, then buyer's address will be place of supply. If not recorded, then the seller's address will be place of supply. Now, interestingly, what does the explanation says? For the purpose of this clause, even recording the name of the state only, not detailed address, only recording the name of the state is sufficient, and that will be considered as recording the entire address. Again, remember students, what is important in place of supply? What is place of supply? Go back to what I explained at the start. It is the destination state. So they are not interested in your entire postal address. Tomorrow they will not be sending you any gifts, anything on your birthdays or any of your special occasions. So they are not taking your entire address. The law does not want your entire address. They just want to identify which state you belong to, so that they will make that state as the destination state, that is the place of supply. So let us say in places like Delhi NCR, what happens is 3 state boundaries are very closely connected. Delhi is there. On one side you have Haryana, and on the other side you have UP, which is the Noida belt and this Gurgaon and all these. So people are throughout the day traveling between these 3 states because it is a very closely knit part. That is why it is called as Delhi NCR. Now, there is a possibility that you stay in Haryana, Gurgaon, you are traveling for some work, which is workplaces in UP Noida, and you are crossing Delhi. You stop over at Delhi, and let us say your car's tire is punctured. So you buy the tire from that car dealer or that tire shop so that it can be fitted in your car. In this particular case, the purchase of that tire is what is falling in this particular clause if you are unregistered. Let us say if you are registered, then the answer will be different. But I'm assuming since it is a personal purchase, I'm assuming that it is unregistered. In this particular case, your transaction will be falling in clause CA. Now, when you are buying the tire, obviously the person is preparing invoice. Generally for high value transaction, they prepare invoice. Even if you mention the name of the state, that boss, I am from Haryana. Even if he writes Haryana, then the place of supply will be Haryana. That is the address recorded on the invoice. And the explanation clarify, address does not mean full address, even recording the name of the state. So he will write your name, Harsh Mishra, and he will write Haryana. That's it. The place of supply is Haryana. But if nothing is mentioned, then the place of supply will be Delhi. That is the location of the supplier. I hope students, clause CA is clear to everyone. Yes? Understood by all? Simple hai? Understandable hai? Yes? Okay, great. I think the time is up for today's session. Na? It is up to 8:30, na? Our evening sessions. Or is it up to 9? Yes, Harsh. So clause 2A, clause CA has 2 criteria. Great. So we conclude over here, as the other 3 clauses requires a good detailed deliberation and they have a different angle. So we cover the other 3 clauses in our next class. And after covering that, we'll go to section 12 also. So thank you, students. Thank you very much. Again, as usual, I enjoyed a lot. And it was good interacting with you all. You are a very lively batch, I should say. And please attend regularly. Please be live so that you and me both will be having a deeper understanding and a good discussion with live examples. So thank you, students. Thank you very, very much. And yes, very good night to whoever who's going to sleep immediately. For those who are going to study or work like me, or who are going to enjoy with family, for them still the day is on. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good day. And yes, good night also. Yes. Thank you.